What's up, guys? What's up, potheads and political junkies? It's Cannabis Culture News Live. Hopefully that works for you guys now. Tommy was just having some issues with the board there. All good, Tommy? Yeah. Well, you sound great in here anyway, so... We're here at 307 West Hastings in the PCMP Vapor Lounge up on the second floor in our Pot TV studio where we do our show from. There's Johnny B stepping through the door, hash in hand or in bag, I'm sure. Ripper Seed shirt on. I know. Well, there you go. Just the perfect timing. Look at that. That's how it works. Yeah.
It's one of those perfect timing days for me.
Oh, and maybe Tommy, if you can bring his mic up a little bit. Sounds like it's a little low.
Yeah.
So we have some chatters out there, and I see 28 vapes later. Hash mob. Morty's there. And how are you, Johnny B? What's new?
I'm great.
You're great?
I'm quite good.
Well, you look great.
You know, I always feel pretty good. I wake up in the morning and smoke some hash. I go outside and look at my plants, come back in, smoke some hash. And then, of course, I get
what a tough
on
life you have.
the internet, and then I start educating myself and others on all the posts that we get through Facebook and all the social media, and really how much is out there right now, what's exploding about what's happening worldwide with cannabis, which is
Something
quite
exploded?
amazing. The new news. Jamaica, what's going on there? Of course, you must have read.
What's the latest?
Wow.
Fill us in, Johnny B.
Really? Jamaica with a whole new platform of legalization, getting rid of criminal records, letting people out of prisons for ganja or any kind of marijuana crimes, cultivation, production, import, export, transportation. Looks like they're moving in the right direction.
Excellent.
Pretty
and
cool stuff.
Has this passed or this is proposed?
This was in the newspapers yesterday.
Was it passed, though, or was it proposed?
No, it's all these proposals of what they're doing.
Proposals, okay.
I don't know exactly. I have to go through look at how everything is.
I've been busy
going.
the last couple of days doing some local news, and that's what we're going to be talking about on the show today.
Local news.
Of course, we'll talk about a little bit about Jamaica.
No, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's very well. I'd say that's more than pretty cool. It's pretty fucking awesome.
It's like game changer.
And yeah, what we're going to talk about on the show today is the ongoing battle here in Vancouver. Well, you can some people would call it a battle. I wouldn't really call it a battle. I'd say it's the ongoing sort of bumbling of some city officials that are kind of inflaming things for no reason. So we have the Vancouver City Council passing a new law that bans vaporization in the same way that smoking is banned. So anywhere where it was illegal to smoke, which is inside of buildings within 3 meters or 6 meters of buildings or something like that, you can't vaporize with a vape pen an e-cigarette, not a vape pen, an e-cigarette. There's a distinction because Vancouver City officials, though the language of their bill that they passed would prohibit all substances from being vaporized, their older language also did the same kind of thing, and they never went after anybody for they don't go after people in here for smoking. We're here smoking joints in this building. So the city officials at the city staff, the city manager, and others came forward and said, look, we're not going to go after marijuana users with this law, even though in the bill you might be able to interpret it as this. If you really are strict about the language, it would also ban inhalers, those little aerosol inhalers. Well, the new rules have banned those as well. But they're not going to do that, though. They're not going to. The city manager, Penny Bellum, stood up and said, we're not going after anybody who uses this stuff for medical reasons at all.
Nice.
So they've basically promised to not go after marijuana people. If they do it now, then they lied to us. And they made it seem as if they weren't going to. So there's an article on the front page of Cannabis Culture I published this afternoon. I'll get to the end of the name here. I wrote this one. Now, there's a passage in this that I tried to clear up with the city manager's office, and I sat on this article for a whole day waiting for them to respond. They promised me they would. They still haven't responded yet as of this show here, let's see here. Oh, looks like I do have a response.
Yeah. This is cool, live response.
It says the status of the bylaw in regard to vapor lounges hasn't changed, and the issue is currently before the courts. So that's all they're saying. They keep repeating that if anything to do with vapor lounges, it hasn't changed. So we can hold them to that.
Okay, this document noted. Everybody witnessed it.
We noted it. We have the video, and
So
in fact, we're going to play. We're going to play a video on the show today of what happened in City Council yesterday. We're going to play testimony that Neil Magnuson gave to the council, that Dana Larson gave to the council, that Corey gave to the council, and there were others as well that went up there and talked. And then we're going to play what happened in the evening of them actually going through the whole bill process. Now, all of the councillors kind of stood up for us. Not all of them, but they in a way stood up for us and said, well, this isn't about marijuana. We know it's not about marijuana. And they grilled some of the city officials about the whole thing. Adrienne Carr of the Green Party went the furthest, and she actually tried to pass an amendment in this whole thing that said that cannabis would be exempt. Specifically, it would call for a direct exemption to cannabis. She wanted to add the terms "except cannabis" into the amendment to the bill, but the other councillors shut that down, saying that would cause federal government problems because they're actually saying in a way that cannabis is legal in some way. So apparently they're not allowed to do that. It causes ambiguity in the law.
We have an exemption.
Right, so they didn't want to go as far as making an exemption for cannabis, but they did, however, take out language that was in our smoking bylaws that said, and other weeds, and other weed.
Yeah, Bobby B.
We got Coalition Bob's in the house, and he donated some amazing nugs to me that I'm going to put in the bong here, and I'm going to take a rip out of this bong, and actually I'm going to bring Tessa up onto the stage here soon and have a rip out of this bong as well. She's a girl that I just met in the crowd that wanted to hit the big bong. She said, I'll be on camera, or I want to be on camera, so we're going to bring her up here. She's now chickening out and going for the smaller one, apparently. Yeah, but I'm not sure about that. We might have to initiate her on this one here. All right. Well, I understand if the small one. This is a very attractive Redbeard piece, Lovecraft. It's not quite the Destroyer, of course, the Duchess is, but Redbeard is. This is another Redbeard. We have the Swiss beard.
The Swiss perk, and one thing I realized, it's actually got a double perk in the bottom. It's the only one that has the two that come out of the bottom.
I call it the beard waffle. It's a beard waffle. So apparently, this is good. Another clarification that direct clarification that vapor lounges will not be affected by this bylaw. So, I mean, it's not as good as having that language in the bill itself, and we have to continue to fight for that. And you'll see in the actual debate in the House that this was kind of passed in haste, and this was after a marathon 13-hour city council session that we sat through most of. Me and Neil sat through almost the whole entire thing. There's Neil. I'm going to bring Neil up on the show to talk about this too.
That's awesome, guys.
But then when we went home, we got it on the live feed, and I was able to record it and stuff, but we're going to play some of that stuff for you on the show. Neil, I thought, did an absolutely fantastic job. Neil alerted us all to this whole situation. And the funny thing is about this, that, here in the city of Vancouver, nobody's paying attention except for us. And if Neil hadn't come forward with that information, it would have just passed. Nobody would have known about it. We wouldn't have said anything.
Going to pull Neil in here?
Yeah. Hi, Neil. And it's bizarre because we're in there. Me and Neil are in there helping define policy by fighting for this stuff, literally talking with these people behind the scenes. Now, the crazy thing is, these guys don't want to go on the record and say stuff. They're petrified of the federal government. There's certain things they're allowed to say and certain things they're not allowed to say. So I don't want to give too much information, but there's sources that we have that are telling us things straight up, saying we're not going after vapor lounges. Straight up.
Pretty sincere.
Yeah.
She did seem pretty sincere.
And so, we're not going to mention any names, we're not going to say anything, but they have told us, they've promised us repeatedly that nobody's going to be affected by this. And they also said, we don't have anything to do with the cops raiding those places. That's what the cops do on their own. We don't have any control over that. Our bylaw officers are not shutting people down. We're allowing these things to go on. And so there was this whole...
if there's a regime change coming up, then the wording of the bylaw is very problematic.
Yeah.
If the new regime is not favorable to the dispensaries and the freedom that we've got here in Vancouver, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's true. But what it shows me, and what is kind of like surprising, is that it's just average people that go in and actually define policy in the cities. And in every government level, if we don't pay attention and we're not in there actually doing something, these guys, and I love the counselors. I think a lot of these counselors are actually good. Adrian Carr went to bat for us, tried to put an actual cannabis exemption into law for us here in the city.
We've had a good run for decades here in Vancouver.
Yeah. And I think the Vision
100%.
counselors are also willing to work with us on all of this stuff. So we're going to continue the dialogue directly with the city manager staff, with the counselors themselves. I want to go, like I said, I mentioned to Neil, I think we should have regular presentations that we're giving to council explaining the issues that we're dealing with in the community so that they know what's going on and they don't have, we just watch them bumble through a bunch of stuff. The mayor literally was shaking his head when they realized that this was going to, put cannabis people in jeopardy.
Madam Chair told me that I was wrong about my interpretation of the bylaw, that it didn't read that, it just said tobacco.
Yes.
And then 10 minutes later, she's going, oh, Mr. Magnuson, I see that you're correct in this section and this section.
Yeah. Even the counselor who was chairing the whole thing, Andrea Reimer,
looking at that, looking in their papers.
They hadn't read the bill.
Going, what?
Yeah.
So then, then they wanted to get clarification on it, and they told us that they had to wait for the city staff to give them some clarification and see if they could take those words out, and Adrian was going to be all over that. As it turns out, city staff was sitting right there in that council chamber all the time.
Of course they were.
With us.
Of course they were.
And then they put it off because they wanted to get clarification, and it got to be like noon and past noon. So let's take a break till 2 o'clock, and we'll deal with it at 2. So Jeremiah and I came back after 2. There was quite a contingent of us before the noon break. And then after that at 2 o'clock, we come in there, and right away they put it off until the end of the agenda because they're still waiting for clarification from staff who was sitting in the council room there with us.
Well, they were sitting there with us, and then we got into a bit of a row with them about the language itself.
They were saying they would take out that offensive language, except that you clued into, well, what is an e-cigarette?
Yeah.
Is an e-cigarette tobacco, or could it have cannabis or anything else in it? And she wouldn't accept that. She had bad body language. She seemed uncomfortable and backed out of that conversation.
Well, she got antagonistic to me about it. She said, I don't want to argue. And I said, I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking you a direct question. Why are you leaving the same language in that was problematic in the first place? Yeah. I said that was at the heart of the entire argument, which it was. That was the whole reason that we went back to the drawing board, was because the language itself would ban all substances. Yeah. And it's still there. It still bans all substances, but including even breathing.
Exactly. You can't fart inside anymore. Anything that emits a vapor that someone else would inhale, you're illegal.
All breathing out has been made illegal in the city of Vancouver.
Yeah. If it wants to be enforced like that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. But then they didn't deal with it at all. And then it was a break at 6:30.
That's amazing.
And then we find out that we're not going to have any more input at all after we come back at 8 o'clock. Yeah. So we talked to those people again. And, she was trying to say that, we're not coming after the cannabis people, but she wasn't being clear. She still had some uncomfortable vibes going on. Yeah. And then we left. We told them we weren't coming back. And she chased us out and said things
don't say no more, but...
Well, but I can say that. I want to say that she came out and said, I can't really talk in there. Yeah. But I want you to know sincerely that we have no intention of coming after the vapor lounges. Or
and she told us some stuff off the record that we're probably not supposed to say who it came from. But
I didn't say who it came from. I said,
He said someone said sincerely that.
That's right.
But it, was someone within city staff.
It was definitely someone within the staff, and they told us
in that meeting there was 3 people there.
They said, trust us, we're not going after you guys. Yeah. So I think we can probably rest assured that they won't, the city themselves at least. Now, David Malma-Levine and Dana and other people have been talking about this online and have said this still is dangerous because in the future it could be interpreted just like anything else can.
It can be interpreted like I said.
So it would still be prudent for us to work towards having some kind of exemption for, and actually you'll see in the video, when we play the video, the chair, Madam Chair Andrea Reimer, mentioned this in the whole thing at the end. She said, this brings up a good point. This illegal situation we have with all these dispensaries existing in this gray area is wrong. It doesn't seem right. This is really what we have to address, and that's the key issue. But she said we can't start defining that policy here tonight without having a discussion with the public first.
Well, warning the public to have this discussion.
She said people would be really upset.
So in other words, it's something that's going to be
basically, you can
sooner than later.
You can kind of see where council was going with this. They just want to try and stay clear as much as possible from this issue, and they don't want to piss anybody off, and they don't want to go anywhere near. They're not trying to exacerbate the medical marijuana community in any way that I can see.
It looked very much like their motives were that they thought they'd made a lot of grounds over the last while in declining the smoking rates.
Yeah.
And by making it unattractive for people to start smoking, and for making it hard for people who do smoke to find places to smoke. And that now that's all going to be eroded away because of these new this new technology that's attractive to young people and things like that. So that seems to be their motive. But, the language is really scary for us in there. And if the VPD decides to interpret it in ways that allow them to mess with more dispensaries like they're doing, they did yesterday again, and they're continuing to do this. And I like your idea that we should go before them with some information, some presentations, and make some motions. I'd like to make a motion to have Vancouver a safe sanctuary for cannabis consumers. We have over 50 dispensaries here, unlike anywhere else in Canada.
Yeah.
And our community is persecuted right across Canada. And I'd really like to see them adopt the Sensible BC initiative as a municipality, and then perhaps pave the way, as did the Stop the Violence campaign, for the other communities in British Columbia to do the same thing without the provincial government even being involved in that. So I want to put together myself some motions to do that.
It's a smart idea. And just quickly, speaking of Sensible BC, I just wanted to remind anybody who's watching right now that there's a conference here that starts tonight at 7 p.m., the Sensible BC Conference on Marijuana Legalization. Dana Larson is the organizer and host of it. He's brought some really great activists from the United States up here, including Mason Tavert from Colorado. And Tanya.
It's 420. It's 420.
Happy 420 here in the city of Vancouver.
Happy 420.
Light up your joints. We should hit this bong. I'm going to load up Coalition Bob's.
I'm counting on John.
And what? This was the Girl Scout cookie. Girl Scout cookies. All right. Anybody have do you have Johnny B? Can you pass me a medtainer over there? Can I use a medtainer for a grinder? Is that possible? Are they all being used already? Brand new Prairie Cup. So I wanted
Prairie
to say...
Cup was so awesome.
Yeah, just because Johnny B mentioned the Prairie Cup, we, last weekend, were in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan for the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup, and I have my bag here with the remains of 27 strains.
27 strains.
27 strains.
All AAA. Everything was amazing.
Really trying to make sure everybody gets their 420 in, and of course, I think he got late on the 421, but I tried.
The bar has been set exceptionally high now by Saskatchewan.
So the Prairie Cup was probably the best cup that I've ever. Well, not probably. It was the best cup that I've ever been
to. The best
no boat cruise, but when it comes to actual cannabis,
the way the whole thing was, the entries were all very, very good. There was a few ones that really should never entered. That organic is medicine, but by far the way it was judged, the way we had all the strains specified, the way it had the cards set up, the way you had the deadlines, the way everything just happened is, and of course, once again, the Prairie Cup is a tight little community. It's so nice. I enjoy myself there. Everybody gets tight and personal and says hi, and you can have a great time. And people that I've seen over the years and never got a chance to talk to, I go to the Prairie Cup and it's like, hey, let's sit down and chat and get to know one another. Because in this industry, as a lot of people know, like yourself, Neil and Jeremiah, you don't get a chance to sit down and meet the people and talk to the people you want to talk to because you're so busy.
No, you're usually running around doing
at
crazy
the Prairie
shit.
Cup.
And I mean,
that place, you sit back, you relax, you get to know everybody, and you get to test some really good ganja. And it was 27 strains.
It was off the hook. And the beauty part of the Prairie Harvest Cup is that it's all done in this O'Brien's Event Center, which is a sort of central downtown thing.
Yeah,
it's got the stage. It's got the area for the expo. It has a bar inside of it. It's got food. You can vaporize inside of it. It has an outside area where you can do the smoking. It has everything you need in one area, and the whole venue covers the whole grounds of the entire cup. All the other cups that I've been to usually split things up into different areas. Even in the same building, they kind of have it on different floors sometimes, like in Toronto. And, it just doesn't have that intimate sort of all-encompassing environment. This is the only one that does, and it really makes the difference.
And my hotel was 48 seconds away.
Exactly.
And the glass blowers, off the side.
Yeah, glass blowing going inside.
Oh, man.
And plus, myself and Pot TV hosted it, so it's like, No, Redbeard, man, I think stood out as one of the coolest on this one. Matt Murnaugh did some amazing stage stuff. Opus, Tracy Curley. We had everybody up on stage. Neil Magnuson came up and sang to us. Big Jeff was awesome. And it was Big Jeff's birthday yesterday, so wish him a belated happy birthday.
Be here today for
I'm not
I
sure.
guess last night was a pretty good
I don't know
party
what
puff
happened
down.
to him. I
It was
guess
his
we
birthday
didn't chat
yesterday.
today.
Maybe he's,
Yeah, I was gonna come down and
I
puff. I
actually
said I'll see you
figured that
tomorrow.
he'd be around too, but you know what? I should have sent him a text message to see where the hell he was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here, I can just call him.
We can call him live on the show.
Okay, let's call him.
Put him on the
live,
spot.
or-
Right on. Hey, I got him speed down.
Yeah. Well, you know what we're going to do? Freddie has some videos now. I haven't actually seen these videos, but I wanted to play one of Freddie Pritchard's videos from the Harvest Cup. I forgot to tell you about that, Tommy. Tommy's giving me the furrowed brow over there. Like, what video? I didn't hear
call
anything
way
about a
too many
video.
people.
We'll deal with that later. So, yeah,
This
if you
is
guys,
Jeff.
man, get up on the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup. Get to Saskatchewan next year. Jeff's locking in for some years. He's going to be doing this for a while. This thing is amazing. You guys, that's the place to be. Are you calling him live? We're doing a cold call. Should we pretend we're somebody else?
Yeah.
Should we prank call him?
He's going to know.
He's not gonna answer.
There we go.
He might.
He might.
Let's find out here.
We're trying. I'm gonna just call random people right now. Who's next? Anybody want to call anybody? Anybody? Come on. It's just like
You got your phone? We should all phone him at once.
trying.
That's going to... I'm not sure how that works. What did he say?
Leave a message, Jeff. We're leaving you a message. This is Pot TV, John.
You're on live.
This is Pot TV calling.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. We're calling you live on the air on Pod TV. It's Friday.
Give us a call back. Actually, just show up. Thank you very much.
There's Katie Cat. Hi, Katie.
So, yeah, Prairie Cup was a lot of fun. It was a really good time. I enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun. Johnny B was there.
Yeah, I was puffing hash.
Totally loaded.
I got everybody high.
I'm just joking.
No, actually, it was good to be able to sit back and talk to a lot of people and get to really people were more interested in and exactly
And
what I was
73 different kinds of beer at the Senator Hotel. 73 beers on tap.
I tried one.
So there was some liquor consumption.
And we only had 27 strains. What's with that?
We had 27 strains. Yeah.
Next
reverse
year,
numbers.
we're doing 74 strains of
72.
marijuana. 74 strains of marijuana.
Well, we need a week and a half for that.
Yeah, it's true. You'd never be able to get through
We had
70.
53 minutes to go and still 9 strains to test.
Think about it. You'd never be able to get
Really?
through 27 strains of beer if you tried to do it, let alone 70 strains if you tried to.
You got
to
27
judge it.
strains of beer to judge over the next 3 days.
You'd be loaded.
I advocate
cannabis,
for less
though,
strains
it does
or more
seem like,
time.
Oh,
you know, a
that
little
would
excessive.
actually be a pure hash joint.
Oh, that's what this is. Oh.
Wow. Wow.
I was
There
about
could
to
maybe be
bite
2
it and
levels
chew
of
it
cups,
and-
right? There could be like
Very
the
nice.
the professionals that test the 75 strains
Should we
that they
smoke
have,
up your hash
and then
joint?
they weed it
yeah,
down so we
yes,
only
we
have to
should.
test 20.
Of course
How
we
about
should.
that?
Sorry, Neil. Go ahead.
Well, what if a group of professionals tested the 75 strains and weeded it down to like 15 for the rest of us amateurs?
Shh, amateurs,
15,
speak for
yeah.
yourself. We're
Yeah, what the hell's
pros.
wrong with you?
Well, I don't. Well, not me.
You
Oh,
are.
that's
We
true.
talked
We made
about
it
this.
through. I did do it. We
You're
did
pretty
it.
much
Damn
a
it!
pro.
But
Pretty
it was
much.
such hard work,
On
and
that
for
note,
some
we need to
people,
be
they just
smoking
seem to
more
breeze
hash.
through it. So, I advocate for myself less strains or more time. But I know that some professionals out there can do more. So that's why I'm saying it, like have a day in advance where the 75 strains are weeded down to the best 20, and then us amateurs
I
can
think
test
we need
the
our
20.
top 9 strains,
Trying
so
to
we
make
get
it
like
easy on
100
yourself
entries, and then a few of us selected people can test
So this just
all
in on the
99
wire.
strains, and we'll pick out 9 out of the 99. So that means that you have a percentage of maybe getting in there.
This
That's
just
what I'm
in on
talking
the
about.
bubble wire.
See? Neil's on board too.
That's what
He's
I'm
a
talking
judge.
about.
Yeah, I'm a judge. Jeremiah's
This
a
just
judge.
came in on the bubble wire here.
bubble wire.
United Cannabis Corporation announces venture with Jamaica-based cannabinoid research and development company Limited.
Yes.
It says, so there you go. Look that headline up.
Where'd you get
Can you
that
remember
from?
it now? This is the one. This has actually been published on CNN Money, talking about the issue you were talking about Jamaica.
I was talking about the stuff that was going on within
It
the
says
papers and stuff.
the United Cannabis Corporation today announced it has participated with a small group of Jamaicans to form a Jamaican corporation named Cannabinoid Research and Development Company Limited. The company owns 50% interest in CRD, which is okay. The company participated, so on and so forth. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. What is it actually going to do?
What's that
It
actually?
sounds like they made a company. Oh, wait, and look, we have some of our friends are involved in this here. Did I see the name of a Mr. Mark Richardson, Chief Technology Officer? So that's why it came in on the bubble wire, because Mr. Mark Richardson, Bubble Man, is passing along the press release to me here.
Nice.
So there you go. So Johnny, tell us how you guys are involved in this. This has got Johnny's paw prints all over it.
Yes, there was some meetings at the conference and stuff like that, and some just interesting things that are happening with Jamaica. And I was looking actually just for the newspaper articles that came out on what was happening and what their anticipations.
What are you guys doing in Jamaica, Johnny?
What are we doing in Jamaica?
Yeah.
Everybody's in Jamaica.
Research and weed, man.
Research and development.
And what does that mean specifically?
Somebody's got to do drug testing.
Growing some fine.
Well, we got to take a look at growing. Yeah. Well, what they've done, they've changed the laws, and what they're looking at is doing. Well, I haven't changed it yet. Everything's kind of proposed. You can kind of take a look at what's going on there and stuff like that. So
Ganja law.
So what they're doing is they're going to be decriminalizing cannabis and more or less getting rid of all of the criminal records for people who are in jail. The same that they've done in Colorado. It's been going on for a while, but now it's been all made very public of what's the next progressions are. So I think there's a lot of good stuff that's happening down there.
Tessa, did you want the small bong or the big bong? Which one? You want the small bong? Okay, no worries.
Are you aware what type of
Not to put you
decrim
on
it
the
is?
spot,
Is
but
it good decrim or bad decrim?
Okay.
What are they
Just
what
a
are
small
they doing
bowl.
here? I can kind of look
Very
in
small
here.
hair. Very teeny tiny. Okay. Well, and now can you guys maybe shuffle down just for a minute so Tess can come up here and hit this bong with us here?
Yes, of course we can.
Because it's already 4:30 and it's 10 minutes after 4:20.
Wow.
I was supposed to give her this bong rip a while ago now. Yeah, she's coming here. They asked us if we were doing a show, and she asked, "Are we going to be on TV?" And I said, "No, not if you guys don't want to be." And she said, "I'll be on TV." So I was like, "You're coming up. Come hit this one." No, this side. Yeah, we'll get you on this side. Put you right in the hot seat here.
Right in the hot seat.
Sure, cut right through. That's fine. And we should give her a microphone as well. Johnny, can you pass that mic over to her? Hi, Tessa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
This is a red beard bong called Lovecraft. Meet Tessa Lovecraft. And it's got a choke on it here. So, but before I give you this, Tessa, you're from Ontario, you said, right? Where are you from in Ontario?
Toronto.
Oh, you're from Toronto. Oh, yeah. And have you ever been to Vapor Central in Toronto?
Yes, I have.
Oh, so you know about the cool stuff that's happening there. Have you been to the comedy nights or anything like that?
No.
No, they have crazy comedy nights. And they had a burlesque show the other night with a bunch of pretty girls up there taking their clothes off. So that was interesting. Yeah, we don't have anything like that in this Vapor Lounge quite yet, but when I was watching the video, I was like, I don't know, why not? But okay, Tessa, what are you doing in Vancouver? Just hanging out, or you got family here or something?
Over here.
Oh, very cool. Oh, so you're moving
with my
here?
boyfriend.
Nice. What's up, man? And wait, your name is Jinx? Jinx, right, I remember. Nice. Well, if you want to hit too, you should come up here as well.
Yeah, you should come up.
Yeah. We'll get you up here too. Here. Maybe we'll do one at a time just so there's some couch space, but if you don't mind, we'll talk to you separately. And then you can hit Duchess, the big one. Johnny, do you have a lighter over there? Yes. Tess could use for a second here. So there's a lighter for you. Here's the bong. I'll take the microphone. Yeah. Giving away bong rips here down at the BCMP Vapor Lounge. 28 Vapes later says Duchess is gorgeous. Well, thank you. I agree with you. This is Duchess here. Oh, yeah, the choke is here. So if you light it there and you suck through there, you should be good. And then when you want the air to come through, just lift it out of there. That'll just give you good airflow once you're done taking a puff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. This whole choke thing is just basically, a choke is like when you pull the thing out and then you get airflow through, so it sucks the smoke through. And you get all the smoke in your lungs. Yeah. Oh, no worries. Yeah, you can take as small or as large as you like there. No pressure. All the cool kids are doing it,
as opposed to some pipes that have a vent hole on the side that you would...
Yeah. Shotgun hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different bongs and stuff. Oh, nice work. Yeah. Very nice. And that was the Girl Scout cookie. Girl Scout cookies. Is it plural or singular? No, one. Girl Scout cookie. Just one. But which one is it, though? Because there's different kinds of Girl Scout cookies. I'm a fan of the vanilla ones that are like Oreos that have the vanilla cream in them. Those are the best Girl Scout cookies, in my opinion. I love those boxes. I haven't seen those for a while, but So what'd you think? Tasty? Yeah? Very cool. Well, it was nice having you on the show. You're going to be around for a while. You should come back and watch the show again sometime soon. Alright. Yeah, come on down to the Vapor Lounge. You're welcome on the show anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. And is this your first time in the lounge?
No.
Oh, okay, you've been here before. Oh, she's a veteran. Been to all the lounges. So, and actually, Jinx, come on up here, my friend. Do you want to hit Duchess or the small one? You should hit Duchess just to give her a try. You don't want to make her jealous here. You got to give her a shot. Oh, you don't have to make any guarantees. That's all right. How you doing, man? How's it going? Give me one of these. I'm all right. Not bad. I'm Jeremiah. Here. Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Vapor Central fan. I know Chris. Actually, Vapor Central is kind of like the Pot TV 2. We do our live broadcast from here, and Vapor Central does live broadcasts from there, and we have them all on the same website.
Yeah, 667 Yonge Street.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we love those guys. I love Chris and Aaron and everybody there. And Matty O's working there again now.
Yeah.
Got Sean Brady and the posse's all there. We love those guys a lot. So here is Duchess. Now, I usually take Duchess in 2 rips so I can, my lungs are not so massive. But you take it however you like. I don't know if you've ever hit a bong this big before. Oh, here. Johnny, what happened to that lighter? Oh, I think I got one here. There's the one. Oh, I think we ganked it up. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Let her take a picture.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, it's not bad. It's very tasty. Or wait, I don't think I actually tried it yet, so I can't really say. It smells good, though. Talking to this one. You want one of these? Johnny's itchy to get his hands on this microphone. You want this thing, John? Here. Nope.
Whoa.
What an asshole I am. I'm sorry. Oh. Hits from the bong.
A little bit of live action bong hits there. I mean, that's what Pot TV is about, right?
Oh. Lauren wants to come up, does she, and have a bong rip? Well. Oh. Well, then
Tickets
she can't come up.
Is this for the coalition event, or is it for like a free car?
Oh yeah, Corey's gonna come up and tell us about all that.
We should go around to all the dealerships and say, you know what, can you donate a car so we can donate it to the coalition to have a raffle to save. There's all kinds of things we can do to help with the coalition.
I like your style.
Right? A lot of people, you can just go out there and you can just say, hey, we're trying to fight for our rights. Is there something you can donate that we can raffle off?
I am so down
Think
for
big.
that.
Think big, guys. Like, really. There's places out there that have tons of money, and a lot of these people have relatives, family that use ganja in every other way. We were talking about this today about stepping out of the box and going into, like, say, the Fairmont Hotel and sponsoring their chef night and giving them something.
Tesla Motors might want to sponsor us.
There's so many different things that you can go out and actually try for because the industry is changing, and I think it's now time to start knocking on every door, not just the ones that we know are going to say yes.
Yeah, that's right. I agree.
You know, there's a lot out there too.
Win-win-win for everybody.
I'm sure Red Bull would sponsor something.
Why not? Flying free.
Everything is wonderful.
Flying high.
Yeah. What'd you think there, man? Not bad.
So if you have a buddy that smokes a lot of weed, works at a dealership, go approach him and say, you know what, we should get like...
Might as well.
I don't know. There's got to be a hemp car out there that we can actually approach and say, you know, it's about saving hemp.
Put the bong up on the table so we can see the action.
Bob's agreeing with me. Okay.
See if I can still...
Are you okay?
Moment of truth has arrived here.
Yeah.
Watch that.
So,
that's very dangerous. Are you putting it up there?
So we're going to bring Corey up to do this whole draw thing, but we're going to bring Lauren up to hit some sort of bong or pipe, right? What do you think? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be good. You look like you need a bong rip. I don't know why, but just because. It's up to you. Katie is trying to get some attention over there now for some reason. Because she wants to come up and have a bong rip.
She wants some attention.
That's what it is. She's like, don't forget about me.
So otherwise, then what else is going on in Cannabis Good News?
All the ladies are going to come and have a bong rip.
They went into the weed store,
Willie.
Berard and Second.
The cutest lady of all,
well,
wherever he is.
I'm sorry. Are you talking? He's just talking to Katie, though, so I'm sorry.
I was talking to the camera,
Alright.
sort of.
Sorry.
I was talking about
It's
Willie,
his
man.
show. We apologize. We were mentioning how the VPD walked into Don Briera's place on Berard and Davy yesterday.
No,
and how
not Berard
Don
and Davy.
got
No,
right-
no. That was the Berard and Second store.
Was it Berard and Second?
Calvin operates that. Calvin did a really good job at Tung Fu and those guys, but they had come in there because they said they found somebody in possession of cannabis that didn't have a federal license, and then I guess he called a couple of the drug squad people, and they joined him in going in there, and they determined that the operator Calvin, he didn't have a valid federal license either. So this young Constable Fraser, he was trying to explain to me that there was a crime going on, and I already had explained to him what a crime was. You know, that's when some victim of intentional damage, has been happening.
I heard Don kind
and so he says, but there was, a guy with marijuana. He didn't have a license. There was a store that sold it to him, and they didn't have a license. And there's the victim there. And I said, well, where's the victim? Where? There's no victim here.
Now, this is just some rogue cop, essentially.
I think so, by the way he described it.
Some youngster.
Well, yeah, he was probably in his mid to late 20s, this Constable Fraser. And I guess they said that the fellow that they had stopped with the marijuana was an older person as well. And he may have had a valid license, but he didn't have it on him. And the guy, Calvin in the store said, but he's a regular customer. He's already been, scoped out to make sure that he's properly medical. And so I don't ask my regular customers to show me their papers all the time. That would be ridiculous.
Well, this does happen occasionally with everything. Even when Sensible BC was at the bus station or at the ferry terminal and they were petitioning,
right?
Even when the cops had come out publicly and just in the press said, we won't be going after you guys, we're telling all of our cops were still going after people. Right. So I think it's just that some of it doesn't trickle down all the way to these guys. And who knows? But
it's crazy if they
maybe
still think they're doing the public good here somehow.
They didn't get the memo.
He said, they're selling weed there. I said, yeah, like 50 other places in Vancouver with the council's knowledge.
Wow, it's hazy.
But the guy behind the desk doesn't have a license. I said, yeah, just like 50 other places in Vancouver.
None of them have a license.
But the whole thing
there's no license.
There's no Health Canada
license. A federal license doesn't mean you can sell cannabis.
To do with the license or anything like that. It really has to come down to the individual. It's just like being at the border crossing or in Mexico and you get pulled over and you get driven down the street to pay $100 fine.
Lauren.
Or, you know what I mean? So
you guys should shift down. Johnny
we're shifting
B.
down. But
shove a bum.
It's one officer
Lauren,
making a decision like,
how are you?
Well, it's not right, and I feel like that my kids might smoke it, so I want, you know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. And it's sorry, individual people are the ones that are actually hurting the industry in a sense. I'm hearing more with the VPD in full support of everything. What happens here in Vancouver, like you said, there's 50 clubs. If they're going to walk into a club and shut them down, I think they're going to walk into every one at the same time.
Well, exactly.
They don't have that kind of manpower.
They're not. They're just going to keep harassing one by one like they always do.
There'd be a huge backlash if they did that, too.
But could you give this lovely lady a microphone here? How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Jeremiah?
I'm very good. Now, how's your day going in the lounge, being an employee here of the lounge?
It's good. I got Willie to go upstairs so I could come down here.
Oh, you came. Oh, very nice. Oh, specifically for the show to hang out and stuff?
Indeed.
Oh, that's nice.
Vicky and I were watching you upstairs and said, I'm going to go down
and
say Jeremiah.
Yay. Well, I'm glad you came on the show. Do you want to hit this hash? Yep. Johnny loaded it up. You can hit that.
That sounds great.
In the beard waffle. Hit the beard waffle. The Swiss beard waffle. Now,
just hitting it like a champ. If you work at the BC Lounge or anywhere in this building, you pretty much can hit a bong pretty hard. It's part of the job, I think, description.
What is that?
You hit a bong pretty good. You'll be able to hit a bong.
Oh, you got to be able to hit a bong.
I don't know anybody in the building that doesn't.
That's like on your cover letter.
Wait, I think I do. There is a couple.
You have to have like mention of bong hitting in your cover letter probably, or some sort of, like certification in
references for previous bong hitting.
Wasn't it Mark? We always had to hit the big bong. He had the big bong downstairs.
She graduated from Oaksterdam University.
Yeah, hit that thing many times.
Hit that thing.
I'm just joking. It's funny that there really are marijuana universities, though. You could actually have graduated from a marijuana university, but
that'd be fantastic.
We don't have any here yet
Iron
Canada
lungs.
with no real certification. That's right. Come on down to Big J's University. We'll get you all learned it up.
When I was interviewed for the job, I was asked. Part of it was, now, do you smoke weed? Well, yes, I
How
do.
much
Then
can you handle?
Great.
And Lauren, how long have you been working here for now? It's been a while.
Since
now.
March.
March? Oh, shit. There you go.
And they told you there'd be drug
Seems like it's
testing
been
on the
years.
job, right?
Of course.
You'd be required to test many drugs.
Yes.
And many
Drug
strains
testing
anyway.
I
happens.
promised it would be positive every time. I assured them.
Yeah, we require a positive drug test every 3 months. That's right.
3 months.
Yeah,
All
you gotta
sorts of
have.
things.
Well,
Well,
yeah, we should test as many drugs as we can get our hands on.
My fear is in the future, if we don't get it the way it should be going, the government will be drug testing us to make sure we're on their drugs. So
Right. Oh, yeah, they like their drugs.
That's what we're
better.
fighting against, right?
yeah. I would just actually want to say one thing, though. To most young users, having a hard time explaining to your parents about your recreational cannabis use. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are using cannabis recreationally, but it also does benefit them in many other ways, anxiety, depression, all sorts of things. And try and break the ice as truly a medical thing. It's something that I think we need to be explaining to people, because a lot of people don't understand that it has medical benefits at all.
Right. Recreational is medical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you use it for regular purposes of having fun, recreation, and that's literally recreating the health of your body.
Laughter is medicine.
Yeah, it
and
is.
in that simple thing right there.
Preventative
If you're
medicine is
simply
real
using
too.
recreationally, that's still a medicine.
You know how stressed I'd be if I didn't smoke weed every day? That would be, yeah, absolutely.
I know people that would be dangerous
Detrimental.
if they didn't. So
Yeah. I smoke it from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed at night. And I seem to be able to get some things done. So occasionally here and there.
Passing that along, that it's medicinal, the medicinal aspects, it's really important.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it's very true that we sometimes take it for granted on that level. You know, just how therapeutic it really is, smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
When I really do believe it's a medicine, and I believe it goes even further than that. I have some sort of a sacred
Ritual.
relationship with the plant myself. Like, you know, it's something that's in my life all the time, as much as food or the air I breathe or water. So, I mean, these things have we take a lot of that stuff for granted. I think we don't
Totally.
really appreciate the things that we're
Not
taking
in touch
from all
with
around us.
your body
We
and
just,
nature
you know,
and everything.
if you didn't have those things, you have to be damn thankful for all the things we have. Because if you don't, I mean, it's easy to lose some of this stuff. People in some places don't have clean water. They don't have clean air to breathe.
Yeah.
And they don't have fine marijuana to smoke. So we should be very thankful and fortunate that we do.
Smoking fine marijuana in fine Stanley Park and
That's
taking that
right.
in yesterday. It was
And as
something to
much
be
as
thankful
we-
for here.
just don't smoke the
As much
e-cigarettes
as we-
in public.
As much as we
Yeah,
really, you know, pick apart what's happening with city council and all the little things that are happening there, which we should, absolutely. We got to say a serious thanks to Vision, I think, the city councilors, the VPD, for not going after the 50 dispensaries we have, though they could at any time through either bylaws, federal law, in any different number of ways they could go and shut these things down, and they don't. So, you know,
Yeah.
Again, that's why I'm not
We
so
have a
worried
lot of
about some of
liberty
these
here.
minor changes in the language that they're directly telling us are not going to affect our community. So, you know, I think, you know, we do need to be paying attention to it, but
Working here and having people come in all the time and telling me like how amazing this place is, because where they're from, like they could be arrested for, you know, casual marijuana use, and the liberties that we have here in Vancouver, we are really lucky. So it's good, but we still have ways to go. But we are, you know, recognized as a safe place. It's good.
definitely. Well, and Neil actually mentioned that he'd like us to be formally recognized as a sanctuary for cannabis here in the city of Vancouver. But, I mean, that's going to be tough with the federal government having this scheduled, you know, the substance is scheduled and they have all these federal laws against it. And that makes city officials kind of scared. And you can see that in everything they do, they're walking this very fine line. between us and appeasing us and letting us know secretly, nudge nudge, wink wink, we're not going after you, but you just can't say it out loud. So it's kind of
Councillor
a fucked up
Reimer did say that they were going to have to address this, and I think that's one of the ways that they should address it is by perhaps declaring Vancouver as a safe or a sanctuary.
Consistency.
Is there a choke somewhere?
Yeah, for sure.
Because what are they going to do? There's 50 plus places and more opening all the time that are following the protocols of proper dispensaries.
That thing's awesome.
And there's obviously
paying for
a lot of
business
customers.
Licenses.
No, there's no business licenses. You see, that's the thing. We talked to the chief licensing officer at City Hall the other day, Jeremiah and I. He gave us his card, and he just kind of said, "Well, they should be licensed, but they're not," and that's
maybe they're
just
waiting
the way
for
it
that.
is for now.
And they haven't been for over 15 years.
They can tax them.
So now Constable Madam Reimer, Councillor Reimer, she says that this is going to have to be addressed. We're going to have to find some way to regulate these places, and we're going to suggest quite vehemently that the way to do that is to declare Vancouver a sanctuary, and then have regulations that protect the patients, because up until this point we've been under siege in our community, and the patients are feeling very nervous about what might happen in the future with good reason. And there's an active drug squad that's investigating the dispensaries ongoing as we speak. And as we mentioned yesterday, they were at the one on Burrard, and they took pictures of all of the cannabis for sale, and they told the operator that they would be back and that what he was doing was trafficking. So, I mean, their intent must have been for him to take his stock and get the hell out of Dodge, close the doors, and go away, right? So we'll see what happens on that.
Yeah. Seems like the chat's reporting something strange about my microphone, Tommy. Is there, I don't know if you can troubleshoot that. Is the gain up and the volume down, if that's the situation?
I'm going to head back up to work there, Jeremiah.
All right, well, thank you for coming on the show. That was very cool.
There, the hash toast.
Definitely. Good to have you on. Katie, you want a Bond rep? Katie. You want another one? Here. Do you want one in there? Or do you want one in here? Here?
How about Duchess?
Duchess, yeah. The big girl. Okay. And
another thing about the Prairie Cup, Jeremiah, was that it was a real good example of how a whole bunch of people can smoke copious amounts of cannabis with no problems whatsoever, right? There was no green outs. There was no need for an ambulance. Certainly no fights of any sort. I mean, can you imagine? It'd be funny.
That's true.
But yeah, when they're looking for examples of the potential harms of cannabis misuse and abuse and overuse, well, we're certainly with the hot boxing of Mega Ill and with the Prairie Cup and the other times and this show probably too, where responsible people can smoke a whole bunch of marijuana without any ill effects or any reason for any government regulations on how we do that.
Slow down and responsible.
Yeah.
What's that, John?
I said slow down and responsible. Okay.
We can smoke irresponsibly.
No,
we can use cannabis irresponsibly.
I function
with no
every day
consequences.
because I use cannabis as a medicine.
That's
you can't use alcohol irresponsibly with no ill consequences.
I can't take my OxyContins or I haven't taken them.
Pharmaceuticals.
I can't use pharmaceuticals. It's not like I can drink all day and stuff like that for pain control. But I can use my cannabis 24/7. I can get up and I can function all day, and basically that's how I'm able to get my days done is by using great resin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Stuff that we all love so much. That's one thing we all share in common in this room.
I thought Jason Fleury did an awesome job at council of explaining to them, just the value of our medicine, and that these people have no right to be putting those two things together, and to put cannabis with tobacco is just absurd. There's 6 million deaths every 12 months from tobacco use. There's no deaths in the world history from cannabis misuse. So to put those things in the same category is just ludicrous. I was really happy that he was there to speak to that from our Aboriginal brothers and sisters' perspective as well.
I do recall there was a little bit of misuse, and there was a death related to cannabis. It happened when someone was running from the cops, and the 3 tons of marijuana in the back, when they got in an accident, crushed him. So there was irresponsible death. That was the only one. Do you hear about that? About the guy that was crushed with 3 tons of marijuana? Yeah,
marijuana can kill if it falls on you in jail.
So pretty much That was the death part of it. So when it comes to consuming,
Sorry,
I've greened out. I've completely greened out. Oh yeah.
You have?
Oh, 100%.
Just now?
No, I will probably never green out again. I'm past that point in saturation.
All right. Well, we're getting sidetracked here. What the hell are we talking about?
I don't
Let's
know. Thank you.
let's
I was
let's
saying
get
Bob.
through what we have to do here. I think we should play some of the, because we've been talking about this whole thing that happened with the city. Why don't we play the first video clip, which is some of the speakers. Neil Magnuson to start us off here.
I'm going
Vancouver City Council, and they say I need some bottom in my. What if I talk like this on the microphone? I don't know why my mic sounds like tin, but it sounds good in here. But yes, Neil Magnuson spoke. Dana Larson spoke. We had some other speakers. We're gonna watch those videos. We had Corey was there too.
David Levine and Corey Peterson and Jason Fleury.
Jason, that's right.
There
Jason
we go. So
as well.
let's get these people up here.
Speech.
Let me get me out of here.
But Tommy, is this video ready to throw down the first one from City Council? All right. So go ahead and play that. We're going to try and watch that in the studio here on the big screen behind me. And throw the switch.
Here, I represent the cannabis consumers. And we're very concerned about this particular motion because it has some far-reaching effects, and in the language of it, we feel that it could be used to affect the vapor lounges in Vancouver and those medical users of cannabis who are using vape pens. We're concerned about this because there was a city official, we don't know who, that came into one of the newly opening cannabis dispensaries and warned them that their vapor lounge that they were starting to install was going to be stopped and shut down because of this bylaw. That's cost them some money and problems, and it's certainly scaring a lot of other people within our community about the possibilities of this. Cannabis is not cigarettes. Cannabis does not cause addiction the way that cigarettes does, and it certainly does not kill people at the rate that cigarettes do. In fact, 5.4 million human beings die every 12 months from the use of commercial cigarettes, and there's yet to be a reported death from cannabis. There's no studies that are showing that there's harm from vaporizing cannabis in any form, and so there's many things that we would like to have done here. I mean, our community's been under siege for a long time, for many decades, as people that reject the laws and go with science realize that cannabis is a much safer alternative to the pharmaceuticals that are offered. It's certainly safer than tobacco, and it's a lot better to use for many reasons than is alcohol, yet we're under siege. We've been persecuted and chased down, and law enforcement's been coming after us for a long time. Things are getting better now. The debate seems to be over. It seems that the laws are going to change, and they're now in flux, although Stephen Harper, if he gets back in, might have something to say about that, but he's very disconnected from what's going on in the rest of the world here. Vancouver is very progressive. We appreciate that very much. Your policies on law enforcement in these areas are far in advance of anywhere else in the province and in Canada. And as such, I know that this is not part of what you're discussing here, but I would like to see Vancouver adopt a safe haven stance for cannabis consumers. We have over 50 dispensaries now. They're all doing very well, which shows that there's a huge demand for cannabis in our community here. These people live in fear. At this point in the last few months, there's been attacks on these dispensaries. Jim's Weeds on Hastings Street was closed down, raided. The reason given was that the product was being resold in the community to youth. While they don't shut down and raid liquor stores when their products are being resold to youth. They don't shut down the pharmacies and the drugstores when their products are being resold. So this is discrimination, to say the least, in this case. They raided the store, the weed store at Slocan and Kingsway, with the excuse that it was because plants were being displayed there and sold there. There was some small plants. They called it a grow-op. It was certainly not a grow-op. And there's plants sold in horticultural stores across this city and many other places where plants are sold. The plants that are sold in horticultural stores are mostly poisonous to anybody that would try to ingest them. If children got into houseplants, the majority of the houseplants in your people's homes and yards are poisonous to people if they try to eat them. Cannabis doesn't kill people. They raided the Budzilla dispensary on Kingsway and Nanaimo. The reason that they gave, the pictures that they showed on the Vancouver website, were it was a public safety issue because the products being sold there looked good. The cookies looked good, and the suckers that are infused with cannabis for people to use for medical reasons looked too good, and maybe children would get into those things. And maybe they would, and sometimes they do. Children get into all kinds of things. I think it's up to the parents of those children to make sure that they keep those things out of reach and out of sight if they don't want their children to get into them. But let's talk about that for a minute. Kids get poisoned all the time. If you talk to the poison control people, they'll give you the statistics. Kids are not poisoned by cannabis. They're poisoned by things they get into under the kitchen sink, into the medicine cabinets, into the liquor cabinets. And those things are serious, and those children do get harmed by that. But there's no poster child for children that have been maimed by getting into their parents' cannabis supply. They have a night of intense, what's going to happen to my child, and then the child goes to sleep, has the best sleep of their life, and wakes up more alert than ever for the next couple of days. There's no long-term effects of this. There's no problems with this. If we're going to regulate things, it should be as a result of problems in our society, not because there's complaints or suspicions or something like that. These should be evidence-based and science-based. And certainly, if they're going to be shutting down Compassion Club...
Mr. Magnuson, you are at time.
I'm at time.
And you do have some questions from some...
Could I just say a couple more things?
Mr. Magnuson, you are at time, and I am very conscious of how many people are waiting to speak. So what I'm going to do is, Councillor Carr has questions, as does Councillor Meggs. Perhaps you can creatively answer their questions and get your rest of your comments out. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Ms. Magnuson. I just want to verify that the question you are asking is what the impact is or would be if this motion were passed on the medical marijuana cannabis smoking lounges. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
That what the impact would be of this motion if it were passed on, in Vancouver, the current medical marijuana cannabis vapor lounges.
Yes, we're very concerned about the impact that it would have on that. In fact, like I mentioned, there was someone from the city that told one of the dispensaries that they would be using that to shut down the lounges.
Okay. I will ask that question of staff so that you'll hear an answer if you stay to the end of this, and they'll respond back to that question.
Well, what we were hoping was that if you were going to go through with the bylaw, that there could be an exemption for cannabis vapor products.
Okay, thank you.
And also that maybe this could be adjourned for a while until, it could be discussed further.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Carr. You do have questions from Councillor Meggs.
Very briefly, Mr. Magnuson, because cannabis is not in front of us today, but you said they don't shut down liquor stores for resale to youth, and they don't shut down pharmacies for resale to youth, but you would agree they should. We should.
No, I don't think that's the way to go.
Okay, so you're okay with reselling regulated substances to youth who would not be...
No, I'm not.
Okay,
no, I just don't think that the establishment that those things are purchased from is responsible for what happens to those products once they get, taken out of their premises, right?
Well, I think we all see the signs at the liquor store, and I know there's significant enforcement. And I've sat on a business panel that took away a license from someone who sold illegally liquor. So, it does happen. But
we're not talking about selling to minors. We're talking about customers of the place that would go out into the community and then resell to minors. All those signs were also up at Jim's Weeds and other dispensaries. They all have that. People that are members there, they sign papers beforehand stating that they will not resell that product. But once they're off the premises, that's an act that is in contravention of what the laws are and what the dispensary policies are. But the dispensary owners are not responsible, and they can't be. How could they be held responsible for what happens once it's off their premises, other than to do the best they can to, assure that the person agrees not to do that? And I know for a fact that when dispensaries find that their products are being resold, those people are no longer members of those dispensaries. They're not.
Are you okay with the secondhand smoke regulations applying to cannabis?
No, secondhand cannabis smoke does not certainly cause the harm that is of concern when it comes to cigarettes. I understand that secondhand cannabis smoke can cause people to have some of the effects of the euphoria of cannabis at times. But I mean, that's not a harmful thing, but some people don't like that. So I agree that cannabis should not be smoked in public where other people are going to be exposed to the secondhand smoke to a great degree, because people just have a right not to be exposed to something that might alter how they feel if they don't want that. So as much as I didn't like that when I knew that that was coming, I thought the cannabis might not fall in the same category as cigarettes with the secondhand smoke. I do understand that people have a right not to be affected in that way, so that public smoking of cannabis, needs to be regulated for sure. This council adopted the Stop the Violence campaign. I was very happy about that. I think that it would be a great hand-in-glove measure to also adopt the Sensible BC initiative, and all of that entails as well. And that would also perhaps give us some protection and make us feel a little better about this bylaw as well, because there would be protection from that.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
You're good, Councillor Meigs. Okay. I had a brief question for you. Which is that the recommendation clearly says that council approve amendments to the health bylaw to prohibit the smoking of electronic cigarettes in the same places that tobacco smoke is disallowed. So it's not clear to me why you're...
In that language, it also talks about other methods of vaporization, I believe.
No, it does not. Okay, so that's helpful. And then you also said that you were here on behalf of, I think, all cannabis consumers. Are you?
I take that upon myself. I haven't been anointed as that.
So you're not representing a specific organization?
I am not.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Alicia Perry, followed by Jack Boomer.
Good morning. Thank you for welcoming me to speak on behalf of the Canadian Cancer Society this morning. My name is Alicia Perry, and I'm a Health Promotion Coordinator with the Canadian Cancer Society, and I'm joined by Catherine Seeley, Director of Public Issues.
Than anybody. Okay, we're
to council's attention a few perhaps unintended consequences
made around making Vancouver smoke-free. And because the tobacco industry lobby talks a lot about freedom to choose, it's our right, it's people's right to do what they want to do. And so what we would encourage you to do is look very closely at what has been presented and encourage you to adopt the bylaw. We talked about renormalization. I'd also like to talk briefly about enforcement. It will be a heck of a lot easier if there is a single standard in terms of how the bylaw is enforced, if the rules that are in place for tobacco enforcement are the same as for e-cigarettes. So it just makes it a lot easier. As well, it's easier to explain to restaurateurs, bars, pubs, all over the place in terms of that kind of thing. You would be joining a long list of other cities in Canada and across North America that have banned e-cigarette usage in public places, including Red Deer, Innisfil, Ontario, Hensport, Nova Scotia, and dozens of others. Last but not least, the issue of smoke-free housing has come up. I work with, as I say, the Heart and Stroke Foundation and the BC Lung Association on this very issue. We've been working on the issue of smoke-free housing for the last 10 years. We're excited to explore the possibility with Vancouver Coastal about bringing forward a report to you and exploring some of the issues that have been brought up today. However, I would encourage you to perhaps park that issue and that we look specifically at this. We wholeheartedly support what you're doing, and I will bring my presentation to a close.
A very well-timed presentation. Thank you. You do have questions, starting with Councillor Carr.
Mr. Boomer, for your presentation and for your work. I just have one question. In the presentation by Mr. Bafande, he presented a graph showing 5% decrease in smoking, 5% increase in e-cigarettes, and seemed to draw the parallel that they were connected. But I think you're saying something different. So perhaps you can explain why there was a decrease in cigarette smoking And if there is any data to suggest that this is related to an increase in e-cigarettes.
Well, not knowing the exact slide, and it puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. So, but what I will say is that because of the work of Vancouver City Council and the province and the work that's been done in Canada to make it harder for children and youth to start smoking, easier for adults to quit, while protecting people from secondhand smoke, we know that these are the kinds of things that will assist people to quit smoking, so that there's a movement across North America for this to occur. The issue of smoke-free housing, which we will present a report and come back to you, that in and of itself, when you make it harder for children and youth to start smoking, easier for adults to quit, you will see a drop. And that's in smoking, because people will say, you know what, it's just getting harder to smoke. I'm going to give up the addiction. It is not a habit, it's an addiction. Tobacco use is a chronic relapsing condition, as my colleague Dr. Milankara can attest to. And so that's the kind of thing that we need to do, is we need to provide the supports to encourage people to quit smoking and provide evidence-based ways for people to quit smoking. And we know that patch and gum, quit now services to assist people. There's a range of services to assist people. Those are the kinds of things that will help people. And there's no silver bullet, unfortunately, to assist people to quit smoking.
But it's all that work that has caused the decline graph.
Potentially.
Right. You said that you would be willing to provide us with the source of information, the study that showed that, or that revealed, it's the youth survey.
Yes.
That revealed that that youth were 2 times more likely to, well, at least to say that they would try cigarettes once they've tried e-cigarettes. Could you forward that to us, to Mayor and Council?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Next questions are from Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much for coming in today. I keep hearing that people believe that vaping is not harmful to themselves physically, that they're still delivering a drug into their body through their respiratory system. And I'm just wondering if you could comment on what happens then, because in terms of the cost, heart and stroke, whatever the issues are, the cost to society, what do we end up paying in terms of this kind of addiction?
You know, the unfortunate thing is that we don't know, because it's so early to tell what are the complete harmful effects. Big a word there. But what we do know is that smoking e-cigarettes are not without harm. We know that because they're not regulated, there can be a toxic soup of chemicals in the e-juice. And as a result of that, with the lack of regulations, there can be heavy leads, as Dr. Dewar mentioned yesterday, lead, cadmium. There can be formaldehyde, acetaldehyde. They can be in trace elements, so they may be less harmful than a regular cigarette, but they are not without harm. And I think that's the important thing to remember, is that if a person switches from a conventional combustible product to a non-combustible, there still will be inhaling harmful toxins.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's it. Thank you very much. Okay, next up we have Dana Larson. Hi.
Hello, thanks for having me. My name is Dana Larson. I'm the director of the Vancouver Dispensary Society, and I'm also vice president of the Canadian Association of Medical Cannabis Dispensaries. And I just wanted to bring to Council's attention a few perhaps unintended consequences of this kind of a bylaw. Plenty of medical marijuana patients use vaporizers, handheld pen vaporizers or desktop type vaporizers to treat their ailments. A patient walking down the street who's feeling they might be having an epileptic seizure and need a puff off their vaporizer pen to stop that from happening would be in violation of this bylaw, and that's probably not the intent of council. Many dispensaries in the city also offer their clients a place to vaporize as well. Many patients come in, and after buying their medicine, they want to use it right away because they're in need. If they can't do that at that vapor lounge, they'll probably roll a joint and do it out on the street or in a park instead. So this kind of a bylaw could produce more people using marijuana openly on the street, which is probably not also the intention. There's also hospitals in Vancouver as well that allow patients to vaporize on the premises as well, usually with a Volcano or some kind of a desktop vaporizer. This kind of a bylaw, I think, would end up forcing those kind of patients to go outside and perhaps have to smoke instead of being able to use their vaporizer. That could be a challenge for a lot of people as well, and it's probably not your intention. I know that there's also the potential of creating some kind of a safe inhalation site at some point in the future for people who use drugs like cocaine or crack as well. And the way this bylaw is written, that would also become a violation of this bylaw and not allow something like that to happen as well. And I would just say in general that the city's got a harm reduction philosophy towards the use of drugs. And it seems to me that even with tobacco, using an e-cigarette is a harm reduction method over using a regular combustible tobacco. But I would ask on behalf of the medical cannabis community that this bylaw not be passed. If it is passed, that it be specified to be for tobacco and nicotine products only, and failing that at least there be an exemption for medical users who need to use a vaporizer for medical purposes, that they be exempted from this bylaw. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
You, Mr. Larson, you do have questions from Councillor Carr.
Just let you know that I will ask the questions around whether or not this would encompass, in the way it's written, marijuana, as opposed to simply nicotine products. So I will seek clarification on that.
Sure, yeah. My reading is that it would, and I would, defer to better minds than mine, but my reading of it was that it would ban all vaporization and vaporizing products and not just tobacco products. And so that's a concern.
Thank you.
Is that it? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Yeah, and I was wrong, Mr. Magnuson. I was just reading Appendix B of the bylaw, and there is some ambiguity there, so staff have already been alerted to figure out what they meant by the 3 words there that could create some challenges. Okay, next up, we have David Malmo-Levine.
Hello, Council. Thank you for having me. My name is David Malmo-Levine. I've been a cannabis researcher and cannabis activist for over 20 years. I'm partially responsible for the cannabis farmers markets that are held twice a year at the Art Gallery or in new places in the future. I'm also a harm reduction researcher in cannabis and other drugs. I've published on harm reduction for tobacco. I'd like to say right off the bat that we should adopt Casanova's view of drugs. In wise hands, poison is medicine, and in foolish hands, medicine is poison. And you can use every botanical drug responsibly, including tobacco. You can misuse every drug, including cannabis. Having said that, I would like to say I'm not against tobacco use. I think if you Google medicinal tobacco, you'll find tobacco can be used to treat Parkinson's, Tourette's, Alzheimer's. It's also has sacred use for Native North American Indians. We should be sensitive to that. I'm also not against a ban on e-juice in public. I think given the information provided by Council about the transfer of metals through an e-cigarette, there's cause for concern. The reason I say that is if you care to check, the spike in lung cancer rates started in the 1920s, about 20 years after radioactive chemical fertilizers replaced organic fertilizers. And if we're serious about helping people not get harmed by tobacco, what we really should be doing is prohibiting chemically fertilized tobacco and only allowing the sale of organic tobacco and organic tobacco juice in the city of Vancouver. Now, my concern about this proposal is that the words "and other substances" is found on, I guess, page 1 of the Appendix A, and that would include cannabis as other substances. I would request that we strike that word out, have a specific exemption for cannabis vaporizers, e-cigarettes that have cannabis in them, for medical cannabis dispensaries that have vapor lounges, and not persecute or risk persecuting a group of people who have already had their fair share of persecution. Those are my comments.
Elmo Levine, and for the sake of council, it's Appendix B, which is fair enough, but I saw people were sort of flipping around looking for it. So Section 2, Appendix B. Thank you.
Actually, I'm reading Appendix A, page 1. In Section 1.2, it says to be used to deliver nicotine or other substances. So maybe it's in more than one place. It should be removed and just be tobacco specific, and there should be a specific exemption for cannabis so that we aren't persecuted further.
Okay, so there's two places, although the definition of electronic cigarette is the one that I'm a bit more concerned about because it's quite ubiquitous throughout the bylaw.
It also says e-hookahs in there, which could be a volcano vaporizer or other non-e-cigarette type vaporizer. So it appears that the language applies to all vaporization of any kind, and that would mean places like cannabis dispensaries that have been operating since 1997 or at least 2007 without any complaints from anybody. They could be shut down or be penalized unfairly as a result of their vaporization services.
Great. Okay, so we are on to the last registered speaker, Corey Peterson. Welcome, Ms. Peterson.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for letting me speak. When I asked for this speaking spot, I wanted to fill it with someone who's a Vancouver resident and a female CEO of a cannabis startup business. Unfortunately, notice of this holdover vote came a tad too late to allow her to attend. Luckily, I do have a few things to say. During the assessment of this technology, clarification on current practices, even the drafting of new guidelines may be in order. However, to enact a regulation in haste without options or opinion gathering seems like a road that is not so nice to travel down. There are misbehaviors and possible reason for concern. However, a pause for the cause is also very much in order. By that I mean, let's think about this. There must be many views on this matter held here today, and I intend to listen to all of them to better understand where this is coming from. I will, however, do it through a filter of cannabis knowledge, involvement, and activism. What concerns me most is twofold. First, the question of how a byproduct from cannabis consumption of a truly medicinal substance could be considered harmful. But secondly, a far more insidious action to drag cannabis into the tobacco arena is wrong on so many levels. The proposed bylaw may have seemingly nothing to do with cannabis in any way, but I disagree. To vote for a vaporizing ban, or what this is considered today, draws a thinly veiled, ghostly target on medical patients, shopkeepers, activists, bud tenders, and entry-level employees. Many, if not all of the aforementioned individuals are professional, contributing members of this city. From my experience, in the environments which could be affected, a loss of culture, community, and safety will take place. Additionally, I can testify to the gravity, personal responsibility, and professionalism of the majority of all cannabis establishments display. Lastly, as a student currently enrolled at Cannabis Training Institute taking cannabis as medicine, I can say that the endocannabinoid system is real, the medicinal properties are measurable, cannabis is non-toxic, unlike the substances it is being compared to. Something does not add up here. I ask you do not adopt this bylaw at this time, pending revision and review. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. There are no questions. Is there anyone else who was here to speak to this item who didn't get signed up? Okay, so staff are not, there's one more speaker. You're welcome to come to the microphone. You're going to have to state your name for the clerk when you get to the microphone.
My name is Jason Fleury.
Jason Fleury, okay.
First of all, I thank everybody for being here on this day, and I certainly acknowledge the territories that we get to call home. You know, yesterday I got this message about this matter here, and I don't really know what it's about, but I am concerned because medicine. We're talking about medicine here. You know, this medicine has been put here for us for a reason. You know, we steal the gas, we steal the oil, we steal our logs, we steal the land, we steal everything around us. And we don't ask, we just take. Now, there has to be a line drawn here sooner or later. You know, when your friend here, Gregor, got elected here, the First Nations people welcomed him. They gave him a blanket, they acknowledged him, they gave him respect because they looked to this guy for help. And that's what we need in this room, is we need help. There's nobody in this room better than anybody. Okay, we're all equal in this room here. Let's understand that first and foremost. If you guys have a problem with tobacco, deal with it. But don't mix our medicines with it. Now, there's been some concerns here about how the two are being drawn into this mess. That medicine was given to us by the Creator, just like the logs, just like the trees, just like the oil, and just like the gas was given to us for a reason to live. Everybody in this room says how we love ourselves and we love each other and we love the community, we love Vancouver, we love the city, we love everybody. But yet we're destroying it, and we all know that. We just got to look around us and see what's going on. And there has to be a time when we step up to the plate and say, look, man, we have to be real. And we have to setting examples for our children, because we're not doing that today. It is our children that are going to have to deal with all this BS that's going on today. And our people are quite upset. Your government apologized, for the mess up of my sister. My sister was Mona Wilson on your pig farm. We went down to your police station every day asking for a stop to this. And what did your people say to us? No, no, no. And then your government came out and apologized to my people for the abuse of these residential schools that are still coming out today. How is this all related? It's a crime. Okay, it's a crime that's being committed here, and it's a crime that we're even talking about this. Just recently, oral history was accepted into your courts of how our elders would use this piece of land to live on. And now that oral history is being accepted into your courts. This is our medicine. It is used for our purpose, to keep us sane. And there's no side effects to it. I feel sane, I feel normal, I can go to school, I can come out here and I can accept everybody in this room today without any type of anger, any type of animosity. And that's what this is about today. You keep the two drugs apart, and it's not even a drug. You keep the two apart. If you wanna ban cigarette smoking, or vape, e-cigarette smoking, go ahead. But our medicines have nothing to do with your cigarette smoking. Nothing at all. My people need it for sanity. My people need it because it's a gift given to us. We don't attack our peyotes. We don't attack our other sacred medicines here today. And as somebody said, it pointed out, this is a First Nations thing. We gave it to you. And what did you guys do? We know exactly. We just got to look around this world to see what's going on around us. So I thank everybody for being here today. This is a very important subject here. You've taken away everything else away from us, but we're not going to take the medicines. We need it. It is given to us for a reason. It's not used for exploitation. For some reason or another, you guys are profiting off it. It's given to us for a reason. And somebody, just like the oil and gas and the trees, is profiting off it. It's got to stop. You guys thought sweetgrass was a drug until one of our people took it to Supreme Court and got it declassified. It is not a drug. It is a sacred medicine, sweetgrass.
Mr. Fleury, you are at time. Did you have any closing remarks you wanted to make?
Well, again, this is, we have to distinguish the two. Our medicines is not a drug, and it should not be thrown into this controversial talk. I agree, the cigarette is bad, and there is a history on that. It was the First Nations people that invented tobacco, if anybody knows about it. But somebody in this room decided to make money off it. Okay? So we're going to reverse this here. This is not a drug. Our medicines are sacred and it is to be respected as such. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fleury. I appreciate it. There are no questions. Oh, wait a minute. Councillor Deal, do you? Okay, so there's no questions. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for being here. Okay, so Council, what I'm going to suggest is that staff are not, I have emailed some questions to them. They're not ready on them. I'm guessing others of you have the same question, as well as potentially others.
You tell me when we're back. We're back? Okay. We're back. Hi, Pot TV, we're back. So there were some speeches in the Vancouver City Council from 2 days ago when they passed this new vaporizing bylaw that bans vaporizing in the same way that tobacco smoking's banned, except for marijuana, because of the clip we're going to show you at the end of the show.
Well, because of the way they're going to interpret the bylaw, and they're not going to
enforce it against marijuana, is their claim. Is that what that's
consumers or establishments is what they said.
And I take them at their word.
But with the civic election right around the corner here, a new regime could easily reinterpret that in a very different way.
That's true.
It's actually quite, I think, important that we
end up getting
quite quickly, address this with them. They have another council meeting coming, I think, a week from Tuesday, and we'll try to be prepared for that and try to speak more to this this issue that we have for that very reason. Totally. Just because they're going to be friendly to us in the way that they interpret it doesn't mean that that'll be that way in the future. And this really does leave it open to abuse by public servants and harming our community.
That's the reason I showed up. Like you mentioned earlier, if you hadn't sounded the alarm, if you hadn't happened to been there and heard those words and gone and told people, then those 10 days would have elapsed and this would have just gone by quietly.
Well, they've still got what they would have got if we hadn't been there, which is a bylaw that, if interpreted unfriendly towards us, could harm us quite a bit and shut these places down. That's still there.
Yeah,
right?
It's still there.
And there was
But at least
that
we have a promise from them that they won't be going after us, and they've said it in front of the cameras and everything else.
And far more than that. And, I mean, they had presented
Corey, don't
to
go
them.
anywhere, because now here's the thing. We have we've only got a few minutes. We don't have a heck of a lot of time here because we got to wrap up a little early so we can get ready for the Sensible BC conference, and we have to play that last video. So we got to speed through things here. So I want to move on to Corey, and I want to talk about the coalition and the tickets you have to give away here to the audience members here in the lounge right now. Let's get on that whole thing.
I was on Pot TV. I thought I got to sit here and smoke pot.
Well, you got to smoke pot.
All right, I guess I'll have to smoke the joint then.
That's a good idea, and you can pass it to me too.
You got it. So as you can see right
Here's
here on the table, we've got 2 tickets to the Halloween bash.
Halloween bash here. Let's see these. Oh, sorry. Like the gentleman I should have been. No. Halloween bash, live music, raffle, contest, auction. Friday, October 24th.
So we got 1 week before Halloween. Costumes are welcome. It's going to be a costume contest, door prize, auctions, raffle, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a party.
Halloween.
Halloween. Weed. When is that? October 24th.
The Halloween bash.
October 24th. And it's out in Langley.
It's out in Langley. At the Murrayville Hall in Langley.
Switch.
And you can, thank you. You can get your tickets probably, right? Still online if you need them. People out there in the audience.
There's actually a couple of locations that have some here in Vancouver. The Bong Shop and Pacific Canamed. So Pacific Canamed has 2 different locations. One on Kingsway, I believe 1259, and the other one on Granville. I do not know where. But you can look them up online, Pacific Canamed. If you're here in the audience, you can get a ticket. We've actually got, I think, about 10 or 12 people in here. We're going to draw, and you can win a ticket.
Now,
You could actually win both of them.
people in the chat are jealous. They want to win something too. Sorry, guys, you got to be in the room for this one. But
Maybe next
maybe we can
week?
try and acquire some of these tickets for you guys, and we can give them away next week.
Yeah, I
Should
mean,
we
if
work on
they've
that?
got to be able to attend the show to win it.
That's true. I mean, we don't want to just give them away to somebody and not have them use them. So,
Yeah,
Flipper, are you in Vancouver? Can you actually? I bet. Well, see, Dr. Clone could come down. There's some others that could actually win. So we should probably give some away in the chat.
Well, let's do it.
We got these ones to give away now in the house.
I've actually got 2 more, but we just didn't want to give them all away in one day.
Oh, okay.
So we know we've got 2 more to give away for sure.
Some people are having problems with live stream out there, I guess. Clam Toast says.
I seen that Mick Mann and Tracy Curley, they give away lots of stuff on their show.
They do,
sure do.
yeah.
I give
Yeah.
them,
That might be a thing.
all the time.
Maybe you could find some sponsors that would give you
Oh,
stuff
we
to
could
give
be giving away more stuff. This is kind of a news show, but I suppose we could turn it into more of a variety show.
We'll just
Give
have a
away
little
some
bit of
stuff.
giveaway.
I know we give away things anyway sometimes. We gave away
A car for everybody in the audience.
That's right. It'll be like we should
hemp
just do
car.
we should convert the show to an Oprah format.
All right. Does anybody else want to get into the
everybody
drawing?
look under your seats.
There's a hemp car under there.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and do the drawing because we've got a bunch of names in here. Does anybody else want to try to win some tickets here to Langley to the Halloween Bash? I know you guys are in it. Anybody else?
Anybody, if you want to
Last
enter
one,
the
we
draw.
All right.
Do you have your full of entries there?
Yeah, and I have someone else asked to
Oh, okay. Can I do it?
I can't do that.
I'll
Is
do
there
it.
somebody in the Tessa? You want to come up and?
Oh
show-
yeah, there. Yeah. Get
Are you
Tessa
all
to
right
come up.
after smoking, marijuana?
Yeah. The
You
bond
just kind of disappeared off camera there. Everybody at home needs to know you're still ticking. So.
Oh yeah, here we go.
All right.
Huh.
And then go ahead and pick.
Grab one out of there. This is Tessa helping us out here.
Drum roll.
Drum roll, please. And it's Ryan. Ryan. Do we have a Ryan?
With an R?
Is Ryan in the house?
Ryan with an R? Who is Ryan?
Ryan with a Z.
Mystery Ryan. Do you know who Ryan is? Where did you go and get these tickets from?
Calling Ryan to Pot TV Studios.
Maybe they're gone. If they're
It might have been someone upstairs.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it? That's Brian.
That's Brian.
Yeah, that's Brian.
And it's. Can I see the
We're
thing there
looking
for a
for
second?
Ryan.
Brian in the house.
This is definitely Ryan.
No,
Ryan.
that's Ryan.
So should we draw another, or should we
Going 3 for
draw
Ryan,
another? Okay.
2,
No,
1.
I guess Ryan lost his chance. He wasn't here for the
The
draw.
odds just
so-
got better for
Sorry,
the rest
Ryan.
of us in the bag.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Draw another here.
It's a surprise draw.
Who is it? Oh, Lauren. Oh.
Okay, we have a winner.
So she was on the show, Lauren.
Is she here?
Hey, Bob, will you make sure you give
So-
him a business card, okay?
We know who that is.
Hey.
Okay. Is she still in the room next door here?
Bob's going to give you a business card, and if you guys come back next week,
All right.
you can win then, or if you want to purchase one,
It's even got her phone number on
he'll
it.
give you the information.
See, that's how you write your name down. Put your last name and your phone number. Then there's no chance.
No, that's fine.
Oh, you're trying to keep her phone number, aren't you? I guess a lot of the people out there wanted to zoom in.
Finish it, and I told her it was personal.
She's in the next room, right? Just go and dump those on her and see what she has to say.
Hey, Lauren.
You want me to run and go get him to her right now?
Sure, yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, and I wanted to play another video, short video. Tommy, I don't know if you got this one up. Oh, did you want to say something else there, Corey, before you go?
I did have the video I put together.
Oh, from the
5 minutes.
which video? From
Okay, so I don't know what happened to all of my video footage from the. Thank God they had the
from
feed
the
there.
thing. Yeah,
but it said at 27 meg, or anyway, I had all the footage was corrupted basically except for 2 or 3 files.
Yeah.
But I cut something together and I re-recorded my speech, the audio of it. And
Yeah.
So I think it came together okay.
The thing is, we were playing all of the video footage. We've already played it, so it'd probably be a little redundant to play more of that because it's mostly clips of the ones that we've already played, right? Like I've already played all of the speeches, and we're
I
going
did
to play.
see that you played a lot of it.
So we won't play it on the show, but people can go to pot.tv youtube.com/pot.tv, and we'll upload that video there.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be good, and we'll put it on Pot TV.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we're going to play the second part of the video at the end of the day. Or
Oh
at the end of the
gosh,
show.
I can't believe how
And
long you guys
also-
stayed there. That's incredible.
Yeah, we did.
That
Yeah, it
is
was
incredible.
a 13-hour thing.
What's the video that you have there now?
The video I want to play is a trailer for a new movie that's coming out. And the new movie is called Kill the Messenger. Now, this movie looks like it's going to be absolutely fantastic because it's a well-made, like it looks like it's a professionally produced movie, really well made with Academy Award-winning actors in it. And it's about Gary Webb. Now, Gary Webb is a hero of mine. He's a journalist who worked for a large newspaper in the United States, the Mercury Sun News in San Jose.
A whistleblower.
That's right, he's a whistleblower. Well, he's a journalist who talked to whistleblowers about the fact that the United States government is the one bringing the cocaine, or at least working with groups who are bringing the cocaine into the United States. Now, Gary wrote a series of articles called the Dark Alliance series that showed that the U.S. government was allowing the Sinaloa cartel and other sources to bring in cocaine and give it to people like Freeway Ricky Ross in California and push the crack through the ghettos and all that kind of stuff. That was all CIA shit. And so there he is.
Hey, Jeff's in the house. Hey, buddy, how was your birthday?
We tried to call you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We left you messages on the show and stuff. Oh, that's okay.
We were worried about you.
There's Jeff. Come and sit down have a seat on the show once. Corey's coming back.
I'm gonna go check in with Sensible BC. I'm gonna give this up to Jeff here.
But so this movie is a drama film about Gary Webb. Now, here's the thing about Gary Webb. Gary wrote this series of articles about the CIA doing the cocaine dealing, and when the newspaper sort of backtracked a little bit, and he stuck to his guns, he got fired eventually. He lost his job, and he was fairly depressed and wrote about it, or at least told his family about it. But apparently he ended up committing suicide, Gary Webb, by shooting himself twice in the head. That's how he ended up killing himself. He had 2 gunshot wounds to the head, somehow.
It's a rough way to go out.
Wow. Well, I'd say that's a pretty strange and bizarre way to commit suicide, seeing how do you shoot yourself twice?
Twice.
When you're shooting yourself in the head.
How do you shoot yourself twice?
So there's some questions. Double barrel? I guess it's possible. Now, there could be other things that we don't know. For instance, what's that? It was with a handgun, apparently. Now, and I mean, there could be evidence that we haven't considered. So, you know, sometimes these things look, and I don't want to be an apologist for government, assassinations, because I think they do happen. But I mean, it takes a bit of evidence to actually prove these things. And, from a journalistic perspective, we have to have at least a little bit of evidence. But I mean, when things happen like this and the guy who exposes the fact that the government is the major cocaine dealer ends up shooting himself twice in the head and that's how he dies, you start to ask some questions. You start to wonder. Right? But so let's watch this trailer for this. And Jeff, I just wanted to say, amazing job.
Just rolling in late.
The Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup last weekend.
You guys have fun?
Job. Fucking rights we did. It was huge. Like, seriously, for this guy, we got to give it up for this guy because we've talked about on the show, you basically put together the best cup on the planet. So.
Well, I just want everybody to come out and have fun. So that's all that matters.
That happened.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. If you didn't, you smoked the wrong strains.
Oh,
no shit.
We had 27, so it was no shortage of marijuana in the prairies.
And so for you, was it a success by?
Yeah, massive success.
Yeah.
Huge.
You'll be.
Can I just say I had fun watching it?
And how was the live feed? Were you actually able to watch most of it?
Yeah, it was great. I actually really enjoyed watching it from home. It was fun to feel like I was part of it. I got to take a lot of good screen grabs from the Prairie Cup, so I felt like I was a part of it.
We hope that helps bring people out next year. They watch it and they're like, we want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got the O'Brien's Event Center in Saskatoon who lets us host the event. They're going to lock us in for the next 5 years that last weekend in September. So that's a big deal. I'm going to go home and probably sign that contract, and we're only going to continue to move forward with this. So.
Yeah, it's amazing, my friend. It really is my favorite. And thank you so much for asking us to host it again this year. It was totally amazing. I have the time of my life when I'm there, man. And awesome. I love doing that with you guys. I love putting on the stage show and, hanging with Myrna and Opus and all the guys and just working with you, man.
Does that mean you want to come back next year?
Oh, Of course I do. I'll come back every year that you allow me to, my
Well,
friend.
we push through with legalization, and we get Harper the fuck out and Trudeau the fuck in, and it'll be the biggest party in Canada. I promise that.
I can't wait, man. It's going to be amazing. Next year,
I like how
just
I got
show
some
up.
cheers.
Just
And
show
thanks
up,
so
man.
much for last night. My birthday party was it was so much fun and amazing.
Yeah, you had a
guys
good
are
time, I
awesome
heard.
people,
And
it was great.
Well, I was here for a little bit. I didn't get to stay for the whole entire thing. It was my dad's birthday yesterday too. So happy birthday,
man!
Pops.
Like everybody, there was a bunch of us down at Vancouver Seed Bank. There were a bunch of people's birthdays there too.
Oh, really? Wow,
Yeah.
it's a popular day. I guess.
Apparently October 2nd was a good day to be born.
Definitely. Well, and there was a lot of people here last night for your birthday.
There was.
Yeah, this place was
packed
jumping.
house.
We had more people. This whole entire back room was just loaded with people.
Super fun.
You had a steak for dinner too.
I
heard.
did, yeah. Crazy expensive one. It
Little,
was delicious.
$300 steak.
Yeah, $230
baby.
plus a $20 lobster tail.
I know that's
That
Kobe
Japanese
Kobe
beef, yeah.
Japanese steak, marble
stuff.
steak,
Marbling,
the layers,
that's all about marbling.
genetically
they said.
engineered layered cows. Yeah, and they're Japanese cows.
grow in
That's right.
cubes?
They speak Japanese.
They claim that they massage them and feed them wasabi.
Oh yeah.
Is what they claim.
What,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought it
just
was like
well, that's what they do
packing.
for everybody who goes to Japan. They massage you and feed you wasabi.
Well, the cows apparently get the same
I've seen
treatment.
those videos.
It was delicious. Whatever they do. We would never get anything like that back in Saskatoon, so I think the most expensive steak there is like $100. It came from a cow on the field somewhere. That's just good Saskatchewan grade A.
Oh yeah, good Saskatchewan Angus.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I want to say as well that it's really beautiful there in Saskatoon. This time I stayed in a hotel that overlooked the river there, and we went down and puffed down right on the river, and it was just a beautiful
little spot where you guys took that picture. I think I don't know who was all there, Ramo and everybody at the little white gazebo.
Yeah,
that used to be our meeting spot for our like 420 rallies.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff,
of course.
and the World Marijuana marches and stuff. But that doesn't happen anymore. That's why we have the Prairie Medicinal Cup.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. We
Fuck
took
a protest. You just get together and get crazy.
That's right. Well, the protest
Don't
never.
need it as much anymore.
You know, to tell you the honest truth, it never amounted
Caught
to
on.
a whole lot
Right.
or got anywhere. We usually, like I said, our city hall where we ended up at the end of it all was right across from the police station.
Right.
Police always show up, people run away. It's classic, so it's really hard to rally people when they're scared. You
Yeah.
get them inside, it seems like they chill out a little better.
Big J-Dubs in the audience here. We got Jason Wilcox in the house. I see here.
Jason, he also
his
came
way
out to
in.
my cup. I want to
Yeah,
say a
he
big
was at the
thanks to
cup.
that and the coalition for being there.
That's
meant
right.
a lot to me.
Yeah, everybody was there, or a lot of people were there. There was a few
Bunch.
absences, but
I'm looking forward to this weekend. We got the Sensible BC conference.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it starts tonight. And I got
That's
the
gonna be
workshop
fun.
stuff over the weekend. I'm super excited to be down
right
for
in,
that.
in just
too, me
over
too.
1 hour's time, you
We
can
don't-
tune in to the Sensible BC Cup launching tonight. I think it's just going to be like a little. It's not going to be much
Stoner
tonight.
party.
Yeah, just a meet
Little
and
stoner
greet here.
party, meet and
Yeah.
greet, play a video or two.
Tomorrow we get serious about it all.
That's
They're
right.
bright and early at like 9 or something.
Is that what time it is?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
earlier
not-
for
it's
the
not-
volunteers, bro. It's earlier
it's
for the
not all
volunteers.
Stoners don't get up.
It's not all
that
fun.
early.
It's
Yeah,
some-
you do.
it's some
I'm a
work.
professional stoner.
Some work.
Yeah.
Not all
Yeah.
play.
Professional potheads.
Seriously, pro stoner.
Yep. So, all right. Tommy, let's play Kill the Messenger, the trailer, official trailer number 1. It's ready to roll? Throw her on, my friend.
Gary Webb, San Jose Mercury News.
You believe in conspiracy theories, Gary?
No, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. Conspiracies, yes. If I believe it, there's nothing theory about it.
Was the government aware that you were smuggling tons of cocaine into the United States?
Yes, the government knew.
This leads to very sensitive national security matters.
National security and crack cocaine in the same sentence. Does that not sound strange to you?
I'm going to tell you the whole truth. I'm going to introduce you to people you should talk to. And then you will be faced with the most important decision of your life.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Deciding whether to share it or not.
one of the DEA's most wanted, brought in thousands of kilos of cocaine to the U.S. every day. For them.
For who?
The U.S. government. Or with them. Or at least while they were looking the other way. Jesus.
L.A., New York, Atlanta. I couldn't sell it fast enough to keep up with supply.
Fancy information you have there. Dangerous.
What you found here, Gary, is a monster.
You have no idea what you're getting into.
You really tell me that I should just walk away from this?
You'd be an idiot not to.
This story scares people.
I'm your big brother.
Well, it should.
Be careful.
There are ongoing operations you're in danger of exposing. We know you were in Nicaragua.
Am I being followed?
I heard they found a solution. Where you be for the revolution?
I thought my job was to tell the public the truth, the facts, pretty or not. And let the publishing of those facts make a difference in how people look at things, at themselves, at what they stand for.
We'd never threaten your children, Mr. Webb.
What'd you say?
It's over.
I'm not finished with it! Not finished!
This is a true story. Some stories are just too true to tell.
Where you be for the revolution?
We're back on. No mic.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2. So yeah, that looks like a cool movie. I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, well, she won tickets.
I'm eating the most delicious grapes.
Those grapes
Hey,
are
Neil
good.
Magnuson.
That's all right.
Neil Magnuson.
I'm upstairs and let you know.
Yo, Neil.
Yeah.
Where did these grapes come
The
from?
grapes are delicious.
Shout out to my friend Colleen in Surrey there.
Yeah, if you know she's around, but when you see her, just let her know she won the tickets to Halloween bash.
Colleen, thank you so much for these delicious grapes. These are the most delicious grapes I think I've ever tasted. They're super, super sweet on the inside, and they taste very much like a candy grape, like super grape candy flavor. And on the outside, they have that super burst of tangy, realistic, earthy grape flavor. So it's got the best of everything in it. That's like the greatest taste. Wow, I'm so
That was a great
impressed.
commercial for the grape. So I just want to let you know, out there in TV land, I've got a few braces on. Sometimes I use a cane if it's a really bad day. So I let my fingers do the walking. And apparently Lauren got off work a couple hours ago. I called upstairs.
Oh.
And,
All right.
She might be back around, but there's a message left for her that she won the Halloween tickets.
Oh, good. Yeah, she put her phone number on her ticket so we could get at her.
I will give her a call after the show. I probably won't do it right now. I am way too high.
All right.
So busy, and I got to do the Sensible BC thing too. And I'm really excited about volunteering for that.
Thanks, Corey, for covering the event for us and stuff, and actually giving out those tickets and all that stuff. We should probably get on to the next thing here. 'Cause
Hey
it's almost 6
Jeremiah,
o'clock.
do you have all the samples in that bag?
All the what's left of them.
Oh, what's left of them?
Which ain't much.
You know what? There's I lost the grape. There's one of the winners that I didn't get to even smoke. So the grape gum that won from Darren at B&B Hydroponics. First
Hybrid G?
Hybrid, yeah. I never got to smoke any of that.
Let's see if we
And
have
I
any of
heard
that
it
left.
was like super nice.
Oh, it's very nice.
How do you like that? The guy who promotes the cup doesn't get to try the winner.
That is twisted.
It's a tragedy.
Well, we're gonna try and solve
I packaged all of those, bro.
We're gonna see if we can remedy that. Let's see if I have Hybrid G in here.
That would be great if you did. If not, I'm gonna have to wait to get some from Darren.
Yeah, I have Indica G.
Well, some people only gave me the 112, and some people gave me a little bit extra. So some I did get to smoke, but some I didn't. So I mean, we were so stretched thin on the judges. Like next year, we have to up the amount to a half a pound for entry.
My
we're
friend,
gonna scale back because we're changing things.
I'm sorry to say.
The G has been smoked. Well,
it
had to be voted on. So
the grape gum. And I voted it heavily. Yeah, I remember smoking it, but I thought I left it.
That's all right. Luckily, I know the guy who grows it.
Smoked it already.
Chances are I can get a cut even. So I'd have to just grow it myself. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all the cup winners and all of those growers. I'll just get a clone from each one, and then I can just produce all those cup winners.
That's a smart idea.
Grow them all myself.
That should be part of the whole deal.
Maybe this, I don't know if
Might
you have
cause
one
a
of
little
those.
controversy. Oh, thanks, Corey.
We'll just include
I
it
know
in the
you've seen the
contract.
wild and free one, but I don't know if you have.
No, I like this one. Yeah, I've seen this one, but I like it. I want it. So okay, we have we've played our videos now. What was the next thing we were going to do here? I guess it's already 6 o'clock, so we really should play that second video, Tommy. Now we're going to end the show right now. We're going to play this video for you. This video we're about to play is the cap. You're going to see what actually happened when the Vancouver City Council made their decision last night. And sort of this video, I think, is key. Because in the future, if anybody tries to come back and enforce the laws in a way that goes after medical marijuana or marijuana patients, I think this video is going to be key in pointing to this and saying, look, this isn't in the spirit of what they passed this for. They come out and say it directly. So though the language of the bill might be crazy and ban everything from, using your inhaler to just breathing out, even this video itself,
you're not allowed to breathe within 5 feet of any building in Vancouver.
Of any other person.
This video will show that the city staff and the councillors themselves weren't really interested in going after marijuana people. So
good. I want to see that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and play this. And
is that the video?
Just want to let you guys.
Stayed up late.
What's that?
Is that the night we stayed up late to watch that decision?
It's part 2. Yeah. What's that?
Is that when we stayed up late the other night?
Yeah, this was the late. Yeah, you were here watching it.
That was late.
Yeah, that was late, wasn't it?
12 or something.
I know. Yeah, it was midnight by the time we were done.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
These city councilors go all fucking day from 9:30 in the morning till midnight.
At least we know the tax dollars are going hard to work.
Yeah, these guys are hard workers, so you got to give it to them for that. Once every 2 weeks, yeah.
Hey.
All right, so Tommy's going to throw this on. I just wanted to say thanks for watching Pot TVers. Make sure to tune in 1 hour from now for the Sensible BC conference. We're going to have a little thing tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then you can tune in again tomorrow morning and all weekend long for the Sensible BC Marijuana Legalization Conference, which includes guest speakers like Mason Tvert from Colorado, pretty amazing activist who is responsible for legalizing marijuana there, and others like Tanya Winchester.
Tons of guest speakers.
Tanya Winchester, who is responsible for legalizing in Washington as well, with Allison Holcomb and those people.
That's
for
awesome.
Sensible or New Approach Washington. So there you go. Lots of fun stuff coming to Pot TV this weekend. And roll. Go ahead, Tommy. Roll it.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
The last item, which is e-cigarettes. So during, I think I've managed to misplace it. Anticipating that it might be quite late by the time we got back to this, and knowing some of the answers that were forthcoming on the e-cigarette file, I did ask the city manager, legal staff actually, to prepare some potential alternate bylaw amendments that might deal with some of the issues that were raised, because legal staff are long gone by this time of night. So that's what was passed around to you. But I think what we'll do is the Q&A section right now. And then we'll figure out the next best way to proceed. Okay, let me just clear this queue. So, Steph, did you want to just launch into answers? Do you want us to Okay, so we'll just start off with staff who were emailed many of the questions. I can turn on your mics down there if that's easier. Sorry, we're just doing a changing of the staff guard here.
Change over, yes.
Okay, maybe Mr. Cayley, can you close the doors for us? Or the mayor or somebody? It's a lot of celebrating out there. Okay. Thanks, Ms. Proskin. So I believe questions were sent to you over the last...
Yes, there was a few questions that I had, and I just thought it would be important to reiterate that the intent of this particular policy, again, was to limit e-cigarettes in terms of the location where they are used to protect bystanders from secondhand vapor. It was also intended to prohibit e-cigarette display and sale to minors. So with that, we had received a few questions, and the first one is how do we currently control cigar smoking lounges? And those are not allowed under the health bylaw and haven't been since 2008. A second question that we received was from a speaker spoke about hospitals and their use of vapors and whether or not it was true that this bylaw would change an impact on them. And VCH and the doctors present today earlier confirmed that VCH recently prohibited the use of vapors in their own facilities and would not impact any of the other medical devices that they use. You also heard, and a question was posed to us, the speaker asked, will there be any shutting down of vapor and like lounges that exist? And I guess that is part of something that you received as a change that will be addressed. There is an outstanding court case that I have to advise counsel of involving the interpretation of the current health provision that we have. And as such, the proposed amendment doesn't change those particular matters. And then finally, you had been asked, is there a possibility, or we were asked, is there a possibility for some kind of an exemption for individuals prescribed medical conditions, and that could be attributed to any individual consumer. And this bylaw has no prohibition in terms of anybody who needs anything for medicinal purposes. Again, the bylaw is focused on e-cigarettes and limiting their use in public spaces to protect bystanders and to prohibit the e-cigarette display and sale to minors.
There may be additional questions at this point. Any additional questions from council? Thank you very much, Ms. Proskin. Councillor Carr, additional questions?
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, Ms. Proskin, it's late. And so I know that that you undoubtedly covered this, but I wasn't able to fully comprehend. In terms of the question that existed from speakers around excluding cannabis, around their desire to see us exclude cannabis in the wording other substances. I need to know if there can be any interpretation, although I understand this is aimed at e-cigarettes, could there be an interpretation of other substances that could be used under this bylaw to shut down cannabis, the use of cannabis medicinally? I know you've stated that it won't, but I don't see any wording that protects those who have the legal right to use marijuana medicinally.
I've got an intervention here from an answer from the city manager. Oh, yeah.
Madam Chair, so any prescribed, product, medicinal product, and marijuana can be prescribed by physicians, and that's issued under the legal framework by Health Canada for medicinal marijuana, is not subject to this bylaw and dispensed by a licensed supplier of marijuana. It's not going to be, it won't be picked up by this bylaw. This bylaw is designed to take care of, it's designed to prevent smoking in the public arena. So somebody using marijuana that's prescribed by their physician that they get through the Health Canada program, it's not going to capture this.
Councillor Carr, did you have additional questions?
Well, I'm just sorry. I understand the statement that has been made by Madam City Manager, but I am cognizant of my experiences relayed to us by speakers that there still might be the potential because it's unclear, and I'm actually searching after wording which would make it. It may be redundant in terms of the law that exists where any prescribed product is not subject to this bylaw. It may be redundant, but I think clarity in this bylaw is really important because it has been raised to us as a point of concern. So would there be any difficulty in amending this bylaw to make it clear that cannabis medically prescribed cannabis is excluded?
Well, if I could, Madam Chair and Council, I think that I've discussed this issue with the medical health officer who because we've also had raised to us, people who have an inhaler that they use, that is aerosolized using propylene glycol and is for asthma. And so I think the problem is that this is not our business. Our business is basically preventing secondhand smoke and, trying to mitigate the risk of youth taking up cigarettes. It's not in the business of regulating the use of prescribed products that are prescribed by physicians and dispensed by other pharmacies or other organizations that have an appropriate license and permit from either federal authorities or provincial. So will get very messy. And I think, Councillor, the issue, as you know, the issue of marijuana is a very gray zone right now. We're trying to sort that out. And so we've gone over this, and our best advice from health is that it's not necessary to do that. If we start naming one medicinal product that's prescribed by a physician and legally dispensed, we're going to get into a whole laundry list of things, and that's not the purpose of this. So staff recommendation would be against trying to carve that out.
Councillor Carr, any?
No, I've finished with questions. I'm prepared to move an amendment, though.
Okay, well, why don't I try and get a motion on the floor here? So the motion, I'm moving the recommendations from the report, but the health bylaw that it would refer to is the one that was passed out to you about an hour and a half ago, might have been 3 hours, I don't know. At some point this evening it was passed to you. And the main difference between this health bylaw and the last one, I'm just pulling it up. So, Councillor Carr, I interrogated staff at some length on this during various points of the afternoon. What it does is it gets rid of the vaporize or vaporizing definition, which could potentially become problematic in its breadth. Sorry, so you have a paper copy of the health bylaw in front of you. It's 1 page, double-sided. Do you not have that, Councillor Carr? You would have gotten an agenda and then an updated agenda with 3 attachments. This would be the second of the third attachment. On one side it says health bylaw amending bylaw Yep, okay. So you'll notice the one that was in our original package had 8 provisions. This one only has 4. And the upshot of the provisions that it's changing is it vaporizing and vaporize was being defined in the old one, the one that came with our original council package, and then being sort of inserted across the bylaw. In this case, it just simply takes the definition of burning and adds that in addition to producing smoke, also producing vapor. So that's what burning means. So anywhere we talk about burning substances, it includes the vapor as well. And then, quite interestingly, I found out that our old bylaw definition of smoke or smoking included burning tobacco or other weed or substance. So this new one simply tries to contain it more to cigarette, cigar, burning a substance, lighted smoking device, or electronic smoking device. So it narrows the definition of smoking, broadens the definition of burning, but tries to stay silent on being so precise around what vaporizing is. The last thing I will say is that I did try at some length to try and nail down this medical marijuana, but it's quite clear that the higher levels of court are quite clear on it. So, for example, nowhere in our bylaws does it say that tobacco sales are prohibited to minors. That doesn't mean that tobacco sales are permissible to minors. It means that a higher level of government has that rule. If we were to also put that in, should that other level of government strengthen their rules, we would run a list of illegal ambiguity. So it makes sense when a higher level of government, particularly the federal government, already has a rule not to articulate it in your own bylaw in a way that could create ambiguity in the future. So, which is a reasonable explanation, in my opinion. So hopefully that's all crystal clear. So same recommendations as in the report, different health bylaw, different license bylaw. License bylaw is not substantially different. It just recognizes the fact that the word vaporizing doesn't exist in the bylaw. It's clear? Okay. Councillor Meigs?
I think I'll move the motion, move the recommendations, but I'd like the advice of the clerk to be clear that I'm referring to the bylaw language circulated during this meeting and not the one appended to the report.
I did move the motion, and I did make that clear. It's fine. It's a long day.
To it?
Yeah.
Are you calling the question?
I could do that. Okay, so I am in the main queue. We have a motion on the floor. Councillor Carr, to the motion.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm actually reading the replacement health bylaw, and although it doesn't have vaporizing, you are right. Burning does include producing smoke or vapor, or other substances that can be inhaled. Now, I understand what you're saying about a higher level of authority, but if I were to read this, and I was one of the speakers who was here earlier this evening or today sometime, I would assume that that could be interpreted to include cannabis. Even,
are you moving an amendment?
Yes. I will move.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't realize you were moving an amendment. So if you are moving an amendment, let's see what it is. We can determine if it's friendly. Same process we've been going through now for some hours.
I'm sorry. I'll wait for somebody else to speak because I have to fight, because it's not, I had one ready on the other one. I've got to change, I've got to figure out where the wording is on this one.
Okay, I don't have any other speakers. So, Councillor Meigs, to the main motion.
As it is, anticipating there may be a member of council who doesn't like it as it is, because I think it says electronic cigarettes, and I understand the clear meaning of that language, and I don't think it's the time or the place to engage in a debate about how the city does or does not regulate cannabis, medicinal or otherwise. There's a very strong sense that we could have drifted into that debate, and I think that we've avoided it for the most part. So I think this revised language absolutely does the trick, and there's no need for further elaboration to set at ease people whose whole business does not fall under e-cigarettes, in my view. So I think we should wait and see if there are problems rather than assume that there will be.
Thanks, Councillor Meigs. Councillor Ball.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And just very briefly, thank you to staff very, very much for bringing this forward. I think it will be extremely important to the young people in the city, and that we continue to actually guard their health, even if they can't always. And I think that this is not a minor piece of legislation. It's extremely important, and I thank you. Thank you all for it.
Thanks, Councillor Ball. Sorry, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting more. Councillor Stevenson.
Thanks also to staff for this. I think this is really important. I absolutely agree with the premise that these e-cigarettes will encourage those who have quit and have struggled with it and yet are always susceptible throughout our lives with cigarettes, because I know that it only takes about 3 or 4 cigarettes and you're back at it again, and this makes it look very appealing and so on, and so I'm very much in favor of that, and I'm also very pleased that you're going to do this memo about looking forward to places other than public arenas, but that's a tricky area, as I've indicated, because there needs to be fairness. You can't just have people who can't afford to buy homes ending up living without the ability to have some freedom, whereas people who are able to buy homes are going to be say, well, this is my castle, I can do whatever I want in my castle. So I know it's going to be tricky, but I'm glad that you've got a memo coming to begin to look into that and look at what other jurisdictions, other cities do as well. Thank you.
Councillor Carr.
Yes, thank you. I'm assuming that I was just checking out, and so I want clarification from staff that the way in which the definition of smoking is applied, and the terms burning and smoking are in relation to the bylaw that we have that restricts smoking within 6 meters of doorways and windows and that kind of thing. That's okay? So that would be in the public realm. Is that right? All right. Okay. The way in which the term electronic cigarettes is used is broader than that. It's not just in terms of where it's done, but it's about the banning of the advertisements, and it's a more broad application. Right. Okay. Then I'm fine with the new health bylaw replacement and the definition of electronic cigarettes, but I would like an amendment to Appendix B, page 1, bylaw, which defines electronic cigarettes. And even though I understand the term, I'll say it first, I'll just tell you what it is. So in the second line of electronic cigarettes, I would like to amend that to add after the words or other substances, excluding cannabis.
Yeah.
So that's section point 2, Appendix B, page 1, number 2, definition of electronic cigarettes, second line, end of the line says, or other substances. And I'm adding the words excluding cannabis.
Okay, definitely not. I think we really do need to debate this. So, Councillor Carr, you need to, here, let me try and figure out how to get you on the queue. There we go.
Right. I think that even though, notwithstanding the comments by Madame City Manager that this is already covered by senior levels of government in terms of what they allow in medical marijuana, that I think it needs clarification here in case anyone is confused, because the senior level of government authority is not referenced here. And so to ensure that untoward activity is not undertaken towards medical marijuana users on the basis of this change in the bylaw, I'd like it perfectly clear.
Stevenson, to the amendment, please. Why are you... Hold on one sec here. You're all over the place. There we go. Okay. Okay. Councillor Stevenson, do you want to speak to the proposed amendment?
I'm opposed to this amendment. I don't think it's necessary at all. I think Councillor Carr says, notwithstanding what the city manager says, well, city manager is kind of an authority in medical areas as well, which is convenient. And I think that we've heard from one person, then all of a sudden we've got amendments because one person spoke today about this. It seems to me a bit frivolous, and I think that's not at all what we're dealing with here, and it is covered elsewhere. So I would like just to stay where we are and carry on. So I'll be in opposition with this.
Thanks, Councillor Stevenson. I'll add my own comments. I was trying to deal with the same issue today myself and was quite strongly cautioned. I know there's no legal staff here tonight, but the lawyers strongly cautioned against the circumstance where you could create a legal ambiguity. And I think a group of non-lawyers making this up at 10:40 at night, there's a very high chance of creating a legal ambiguity. So given that the old law specifically referenced an other weed or substance and yet didn't result in that kind of enforcement, I feel confident that we can pass this today, put the circle around the challenges we're facing on e-cigarettes. I would say that personally, the debate today really did highlight some of the challenges of having the medical marijuana dispensaries not having a clear legal framework to operate in the city, and I think that's really the issue, but I don't think it's reasonable for the public that we would tonight start making regulations about how to manage those without giving proper notice of that discussion. So I'm confident that the current bylaw does what it's intended to do without creating unintended consequences. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to write a bylaw this evening, and I appreciate staff's work to get on it all day today. Okay, Madam City Manager, your microphone's on, but you're not. That's just a holdover. I'm sorry. Nothing to add to that. Okay, so we are voting on the amendment, which means I am going to the voting queue and I'm calling the vote. So this is on the amendment. Did I? Oh, you're very right. It does. Should I reset it, Madam Clerk? Sorry, I don't control the items. Okay, so we have the right title. Okay, so that's good. So this is on the amendment. Yeah, and it all looks good. So you're welcome to continue voting. I need Councillor Louis and Stevenson and Robertson. No, it's just a title. The clerk can. This is to the amendment, so Councillor Carr's amendment. Yes. Councillor Stevenson, did you want to vote? Oh, well, you get to vote 3 times. Try one more time. No. It keeps, okay, there we go. No, it bounced off again. Okay, I'm going to use vote assist to assist you with your vote. And vote. Okay, so the amendment fails by, I'm guessing, 9-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 9-1. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Councillor Deal. Okay, moving along to, we're back in the main motion. So we're still in the main motion. Councillor Carr, did you have any more comments on that?
Thanks, Madam Chair. I do, and I really want to appreciate everybody who came to speak to us, and especially the presentations by the Vancouver Health Authority, which were, Coastal Health Authority, which were very robust, and the speakers, who really did provide us with an incredible amount of background information. And I am going to be supporting the motion. I really do. appreciative of the validity of the sources of information that they provided, that e-cigarettes really do pose a risk to health and a risk of increasing the use of cigarettes, especially by youth. But by that I mean tobacco cigarettes after they partake in e-cigarettes. So I think to ensure we don't move ourselves down a backwards path in terms of increasing the use of nicotine and cigarettes, which pose huge health risks, I am very happy to see our city, I hope with all of us on board, moving forward to this ban.
So I'm just going to take advantage of this to move us to a vote. So this is the vote on the main motion. I am calling the vote. All right. And it is a unanimous vote. 10, it says. 10 in favor. Thank you. Okay, I am so pleased to say that that is the end of my business today. We do have a bit of, actually a significant chunk of council to do because we have to deal with all the bylaws related to the items. So I will pass it over to Mayor Robertson.
Thank you, Councillor Reimer.